fair though.
Yeah. Super
Fair
lesbian.
enough, man. Yeah.
Super
Right,
lesbian.
all right, fair enough. That qualifies her, innit?
I think so. To be a barber.
Okay, I'm gonna start it. Hello and welcome to the Evolve podcast. In this podcast, we talk about what I like to call the holy trinity of happiness, which is the balance between the mental, physical, and spiritual. And the last two episodes were about spirituality, and today also will be about spirituality, mostly, I think.
A little bit of everything, hey? Like
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
Because we all have our own definition of what that means.
Yeah, I'm very excited for today because obviously I've been trying to get you two in a room
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
for a while,
wow.
dude. Yeah, 'cause,
Okay.
we all have very kind of unique perspectives on Jesus.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be really, really cool. Anyways,
Nice.
Luke,
Yo.
how you doing, bro?
Good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Calm.
You want to introduce yourself quickly? I know you guys have briefly spoken. We've obviously spoken a lot more. Yeah, dude. A little bit of your story.
Yeah,
you
sure,
know?
bro.
Who are you?
So, yeah, I come from Manchester, England. Greater Manchester. A little bit rough around the edges. Spent 7 years in Melbourne, Australia. I did 2 of them years as a monk living in an ashram.
Really?
Yeah.
You tried living as a monk?
I lived as a monk in a
He
temple.
didn't try,
Yeah.
bro. He did it. For
How
2
long?
years.
2 years?
2 years, brother. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to try that back
Wow.
when I was 18 and 19. I was supposed to move to Nepal and
Okay.
try that out, but I had to do some other stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You had the desire to do something like that.
Yeah.
I got pushed into it, bro. It was a total accident.
Total
Yeah,
accident.
yeah,
How
Kind of. Kind of.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was living with these two very spiritual, two spiritual husband and wife.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like my mentors, man. Amazing individuals.
Yeah.
And they were devoted to Krishna consciousness. They really devoted to it. And so, yeah, one time I was doing a spiritual practice, you know, and it required like a lot of meditation, like 2 hours meditation each day, and chanting as well. So
how sorry for interrupting,
Yeah.
but just to touch on meditation,
Yeah.
like what is that for you? Is it just quieting your mind or letting your thoughts pass, or
Depends,
is it breathing, like
for me, man, I'm constantly chanting. I'm constantly repeating
Mantras?
mantras,
Yeah.
mantra meditation. I find that helps me just connect with one thing,
yeah.
you know, and rest my mind. It's a lot easier than, for me personally, than sitting there in silence. My mind
Yeah.
is very, very active.
Do you know who Dakota of Earth is? He's a YouTuber.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's big into
Mantra meditation.
or the Krishna and like the Hinduism, and
Yeah.
he lived a lot of years in India, and it's like
Oh, wow.
he was deep into this, so that's why I know about this. I
okay,
watch
okay.
a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was living with them too, but they were going on a holiday to India. And I was like, I literally cannot practice this on my own, you know, and I
Okay.
really wanted to so badly. And it was only them two that were the only reason I was able to do that meditation was because them two was there. And I noticed this because when they left, when it was just me there, my meditation would dip like a lot. So I was
Why
like,
do you think that is?
people can give massive support to us, you know, really hold
In
us
terms
up.
of energy, frequency, and vibration?
Yes, exactly, brother.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
community is like essential for growth and development, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have people holding you accountable,
Yes.
and that's obviously essential when you are struggling to even just form a habit, you know. And then also say you like get a little bit distracted, they are like, hey, dude, you know, we're gonna do this, you know, or like, you know, come join us kind of thing. That sounded so sketch. But yeah, you know, like community and accountability.
Is he close enough to the microphone, by the way?
Really cool.
Just wondering. Is he close enough to the microphone?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, good. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you ended up with this couple,
Yeah.
or wife and husband.
Yeah. They were going to India.
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
So then they just suggested, why don't you go and stay with Dweja? Dweja was the first monk who I met. And he's an amazing individual.
Interesting.
And I was like, really? What? You think they would let me stay in the temple for like 6 weeks? And they was like, just ask, see what would happen. And I asked Dweja, and he said, come on, give it a try. And then after the 6 weeks, I was like, wow, I cannot leave this place.
Getting goosebumps.
Yeah. So then I just stayed.
You just stayed.
Yeah. So what was life like when you were staying at the temple? I mean, what was like a regular day?
Regular day.
The only temple thing I know is like here in Thailand, where like you have one meal a day, and you mix this and you clean,
and you need
this
to like ask for it in the morning. Like they
Yeah.
walk around and they
it's a very different thing. So I'm
Yes,
interested to
yes.
hear what your temple experience was
Yeah,
like.
it's kind of a lot different to Buddhism. Buddhism's a lot about denying the world and existence, denying self-denial kind of thing. They do deny the self and say that the self doesn't exist actually ultimately. But for us, ours was the opposite. Ours was teaching us that actually, no, you are a living being. You're a conscious, living, eternal living entity. And a lot of our practice was actually engaging with the world rather than disengaging. So like these monks are the busiest people I've ever seen in my life. And I was the most busy I ever have been in my life.
how
Doing different services. I was doing different, speaking, bringing people into a community. We're doing different, even the morning time took a lot of time in itself, man. Yeah, like up at 3:50 a.m. in the morning, go out, have a shower. It was outdoors, so it was a little bit cold. Go out, have a shower.
That wakes you up, eh?
Yeah, it wakes you up.
It's good for you, bro.
Yeah, it really is, brother. And then we'd go into the temple room and we'd do like half an hour of like prayers. And then after that, like singing prayers. And then after that, 2 hours mantra meditation. After that, there was another half an hour singing prayers. And then after that, there was a class on an ancient yoga wisdom, ancient yoga text. And that went on for about an hour. So you didn't really start your day and then you had breakfast after that. So you didn't really start your day until maybe like 10.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like a busy from like 4 o'clock until you're busy doing stuff. But you're like that's also like progress. But it's a really cool time to learn. Once you've just woken up and you've got all that stuff going. Cool.
It is.
And then after that.
After that, as in like after the
after breakfast.
Oh, breakfast.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So after breakfast.
There's still a long part of the day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I had service in a place called very almost famous place in Melbourne called Crossways. It was actually owned by the temple in Melbourne, and they were distributing this like really like high quality vegetarian meals for like really cheap. And these students, they would come and one of my services 3 days a week was to be in there, be in there and serve and scrub dishes. Really get into the humility, humble kind of thing. And then I would, because we had like 3-4 events, each week, preparing for events. A lot of preparation went in.
What kind of events?
Like meditation events, reading events, like where we'd study workshops with different monks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Which part of India was it?
This was in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, it was in Australia?
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They have a
crazy.
big temple there. Yeah.
Sure.
Very well established.
I thought you were in India.
This
whole time I was imagining you in India.
Okay. Yeah. No, I wouldn't have gone. Never been to India. I wouldn't have gone there to be a monk. Not my style. Like I just kind of like fell into it, and I ended up liking it. Really liking it.
Can I ask a little bit about the backstory of the people you lived with?
Yeah.
Like how did they get it? Did they ever been to India? Because to me the dots are connecting with India. I forgot the English right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Dots are connecting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, India, man. That's that's where it all that spiritual side sort of came from. Indian ancient Hinduism sort of thing. So one of them was actually Indian, but we used to call him a coconut because he was like very white in the middle. and yeah, he was an amazing guy. He was my mentor for a very long time. You know, I love him so much. And his missus was French. You know, so yeah, she was practicing it in New Zealand, and then they met in Australia, and then that's it. Yeah, but they didn't find it in India either. Actually, he left India to come to Melbourne to do the whole get a really good job, which he did, and then he fell into it.
Wow. Really?
You know, so he actually left India, came to Melbourne, and then fell into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never would have expected that from like Australia.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Like Australia, you think bogan.
You do.
Know? Like,
you do.
you don't really think about anything else.
Yeah.
You know, bogan and magpies.
Yeah.
Now, recently, that's all I think about. But,
Yeah.
What about religion in general in Australia? Would you say it's a Christian country or more atheist nowadays, or agnostic maybe? I would say most people are maybe agnostic.
I'd
these
say
days.
agnostic, brother.
Yeah,
Because that's
God, but
when
not
you
really
don't
committed to
believe
anything.
until you see it. You're open to the idea of it, but you're not denying it.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's the right term.
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect term. Yeah. Agnostic. Yeah. Yeah, you don't. It's like you feel that something is there.
Yeah.
You're probably veering more towards something being there, but you can't confirm it, and you also don't want to commit to any kind of belief.
Yeah, it's the commitment part that people are kind of. I
And
want
also
to
the
say
stigma.
scared.
The stigma, that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
It's one of the and misunderstanding of religion in general as well.
Yeah.
Actually,
I talked about that in yesterday podcast because I did another one with a spiritual girl.
Yeah.
And we talked about like with family and friends and growing up and like talking about your beliefs and the stigma and getting left out of the group and being looked at crazy, especially when your own family is like, why the fuck do you think that, you know? And you're like, yeah, why the fuck do I think that? And you're like start questioning yourself, and you go down this rabbit hole of disbelief in yourself, and it can be really terrible.
Yeah, it really can. It can tear people to shreds. Because it's something they feel so deeply and something that they actually love.
Yeah.
You know, and they have their own little relationship with God in their own little way, and then someone tries tearing that down. Yeah. You know, and if it's someone that we love, especially, that can hurt a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when I started my journey personally, and like this whole new world opened up for me, I'll ask you the same question. I will just share my story first. Yeah. And so I grew up in like, I would say a Christian family, but they were like sinning in the weekend and then like, Jesus died for me on the cross. So they're not really Christians, right?
Yeah.
So I got a bad taste for Christianity and religion in general, but I would say I was agnostic. And then I got forced into like a spiritual practice with mushrooms that changed my life forever and opened this magic world to me, like there's something more. And then I started reading about mushrooms and like going into like deep into spirituality, Buddhism, Hinduism, like everything. And I was like a bit too much. And for the people around me, like they thought I was losing it because I dropped out of school. I did all of this, and at some point, like it really, am I going insane? You know? And have you ever experienced something similar? How was it? How did you find yourself in this belief?
That's great. That's an incredible story, brother. Yeah, and you really having to question yourself like that. Like, am I actually going insane? I really felt that. You're not actually saying that lightly. You mean that. Don't you? Yeah. You mean like, for me, did I ever feel like I was going insane?
Yeah, like how was the process? Was your family accepting? Did you ever get pushed out of some friends? Because I lost so many friends when I started dwelling into this and even talking about spirituality and like energy, frequency, and vibration, and like manifesting, law of attraction, karma. Like even something so simple about karma, and people are like looking at you with these eyes, like.
I think because it's a word that gets thrown around quite easily, you know, and then people, when you start saying like, you know, all this other, when you like truly like believe in it, you know, then people start looking at you like, come on, bro, like that's just a thing that you say. It's not a real belief. You know? Personally, I don't, you know, but that's because of that whole, like, you know, the Christian concept of you reap what you sow. You know, so
exactly.
Yeah,
that's karma.
But different. different words.
It's kind of like the sea in a way, isn't it? You know, the deeper you get, the more pressure there is. So people think, oh, I don't want to go deep into this subject of karma, because then they start feeling this pressure. You know, but it doesn't always have to be that way. You know.
Yeah.
Did I ever feel? Actually, I was very fortunate, bro. Like I had this one really dear friend, and we kind of just formed this mad friend circle from like 17 onwards. So like we had like 5 of us, 5, 6 of us, get together all the time, and we were all like open to that kind of stuff. We used to share about that kind of stuff. So
that's so cool.
That really helps a lot.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's very lucky.
Yeah, very, very lucky, very fortunate. We all knew that. We all still talk about that. 12 Stanley Street was the address, and we still speak about it to this day. The magical things that happened in that place, you know, it's proper top lads and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But before that, and your family, what do they think about it?
My family just don't have any beliefs about anything, man. They're really cool.
And they don't care about your beliefs either. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah. My mum kind of, you know, she has her own little spiritual kind of beliefs, like not very strong, but she believes there's something. And you know, my stepdad's just a proper like, just a working man. You know, bicks his head every day, shaves his beard, gets up 4 a.m. every single morning, goes to work, comes back, chills out, and does that all the time. You know, like he just
life.
He just doesn't really.
That's basically my dad too.
Is it?
Yeah, he's just like a normal man. Why even think about it?
Regular guy.
I can't figure it out, so why think about it? You know, it doesn't matter. Life is life. I live my life, and I try to be a good person. That's it.
It's glorious, man. It's glorious.
It's a simple life.
My biggest fear, dude, is having that repetitive. Like, I mean, no offense to everybody that has that life, but like for me, that's like the worst, kind of most boring. Awful life. Because again, also my stepdad, same thing, right? He would wake up super early. He would leave for work before the rest of the family woke up. He would get back at like 7. We'd eat dinner. He'd sit on the couch, you know, and most of the time would fight, you know, or something like that, you know. So like that was again, well, that seems crap. I don't want that, you know. And same with your dad. Maybe you didn't, or your stepdad. Maybe you didn't fight, but like. It's the same thing. Wake up super early, go to work, come back, vegetate.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so simple and nice though. Not everyone needs to complicate life.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be complicated.
Because like again, I also talked about this. Was it this our podcast where I realized not so long ago only 50% of the population even have an inner monologue.
We said we were going to talk about it, but then I don't think we did.
I think we briefly talked about. So you know, I don't know if we can ask you. For example, when you go to bed at night, can you have conversation with yourself?
Conversation.
Yeah.
Like inside your mind.
I can hear my own mind thoughts.
Yeah, and think like. Yeah. I could record a whole podcast in my head if I wanted to.
Right. Okay. Right.
Like I can discuss beliefs and dissect things and like.
Yeah.
But and 50% of people cannot do that. They can basically just remember things and like imagining doing stuff, and they can't really
like the
talk
internal,
with themselves.
Like voice, like the voice inside your head.
They can't, or they're scared to.
No, they can't.
Like the like inside their mind is kind of, I don't want to say silent.
There's something there, but they really struggle with that ability to like, as I said, have a podcast. They can have like simple thoughts like I should brush my teeth, or but they can't like sit there, or if they even do that, they just like do it like it's like an, you know, in a world before language, you just imagining you doing it and then you go do it, kind of vibe.
So like animal life.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what I said. Makes me think of a walrus, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of like animal life, innit? Eat, sleep, mate.
Yeah, and that explains why so many people live so simple lives. Because they don't have this Elon Musk brain, I call it. Yeah. Where they have this like constant like.
Well, they just don't have any interest, bro. That's all it is. There's not something hasn't happened to them yet that has cracked them open. Like you mentioned about the psychedelics, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was 15 and I had a tab of acid.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to get hold of my friend, and I was like, bro, you need to try this, bro. This what you see here is not like what you might think it is. I think there's something more, you know.
Yeah. But I've been like this my whole life, and my dad also have been like through a lot, and he's one of these people who don't have an inner monologue, because he just visited Thailand, and I thought about it and I wanted to ask him, because he's one of these simple people, do you have an inner monologue? Right. And it's like, no.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask my stepdad, man.
So like, he's a really good father. Like he goes to work, he take care of kids, he does his responsibility, he has some beers with his friends, play some dart, whatever, like have his hobbies. Now he actually just bought a bike after he was here in Thailand.
Right.
So
fair enough, man.
But of course they have, like, I think at least we should do more research on this, so we know exactly what we're talking about, what the definition of this is. But like, it's just like in way simpler terms. In the same, if I ask you to imagine an apple right now, what does that apple look like to you?
Green and round.
Yeah. Can you like turn it around? Can you shape it? Can you take a bite of it? Can you morph it into an orange? Like, many people also cannot do that.
Right, makes sense. I've heard this before as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I also think, like, I like to use this analogy with ants, you know, and to build an ant colony and like this big ant thing, they don't know they're anting. You know what I mean? They just go and do their shit, and they all have like different strengths and weaknesses, and they have like different things they need to do to build this thing, and they just like subconsciously go do it. So they have born with different abilities, kind of thing. Same with humans. Like, some are natural hunter and gatherers, some are thinkers and this and that, some are nurturers, and some are this, and this requires you to develop certain skills.
Wow. Well, it actually says in the very ancient Indian scriptures that people like that, they become animals in the next life.
The ones who are kind of like, I don't want to say mindless, but like without the internal depth.
Ones who, basically it says that, like, you know, if you don't utilize your human life in the proper way, then Mother Nature will put you in the right body the next life.
If you don't use it, you lose it, bro.
Yeah, the next time
round.
That shit's real. Yeah.
So I was on Google now, dude, and not 30 to 50% of people have the internal monologue. 30 to 50%. Which
so it's even more that don't have it.
50 to 70%.
I think there's more to this. Don't
have internal monologue.
Yeah.
And this goes back to my theory, where not every person on this planet have a soul.
A soul?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, we need to define soul.
Soul?
Yeah.
So you asked about this the other day, right? And I had an answer, but I couldn't put it out, right?
Yeah.
So here it is. There's a difference between soul and spirit. Your soul, so I think everything has a soul, right? Animals, all of it, right? They all have souls. Your soul is your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, stuff like that. Your crap, like all that, things that can be influenced by things that are happening. Yeah. Your spirit is that's kind of like, that's the blessing from God, right? That's when, you know, that's so only humans have that, because in the Bible, only like Adam had the breath of life breathed into him from God. None of the animals. He created the animals, and then he created man in his image, and then breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, right? So that then was humans receiving spirit, right? The Holy Spirit. Yeah. Well, we received Holy Spirit when Jesus died, and that broke the veil, and that whole connection with God was created with that. But like, so humans have spirit, and soul.
Yeah.
When you die, your soul dies with you. Your spirit moves to wherever it is that you're going, right? Your spirit is eternal. So, like that's kind of the thing. So then, like animals don't have spirit; they have soul, because they can definitely. Your dog can love you. Your cat can also love you. Your dog can fear you. You know, like all this kind of stuff. So like. Yeah, dude, we had a conversation legit like last night with the pastor. Animals don't go to heaven, bro. It's pretty crap.
Of course.
Yeah, dogs, cats, none of them, because like heaven's for like spiritual beings.
Well, well, when you say animal, okay, they might be an animal in this life, but what are they in the next? So it's like, you know, they won't get to they might not get to, well, actually, you know, they might not get to heaven in this life, you know, because actually they've still got a lot of certain desires and things that they need to get
actual
out.
like dogs and like actual animals.
Yeah.
Like
so, like animals, like literally literal animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, so if we're talking about the soul, right, the way I would define the soul is it's the particle of consciousness, that's it, right?
Yeah, so it's awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you have an ego, have you ever had an ego death?
I wish.
Okay, so
Still
it's waiting. To me, my understanding of God, to make this make sense, is the only thing that separates me from him is my ego.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I am God,
true.
you are God.
Yeah.
We all are God, having a human experience, but right now I'm having this form as a human being, and then we all return to eternal consciousness.
Yeah, so
but
basically
right now I'm right there.
Right, so basically you forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically forgot you was God, and now you're experiencing the life, and then the goal for you is to remember that you're God, and then you go back and then you merge and then you become.
Yeah, and sometimes I want to be this, I want to do that, I want to do that. Who knows? Like, cause eternity is a long fucking time, bro. You're gonna get so fucking bored. You want to do all the craziest shit ever. You know who Alan Watts is?
Of course.
Yes. So he was a great. He really opened my mind to the idea of this.
Right.
And it really like fit in when I like, because I have a little bit of every religion in me.
We learned a lot about this.
This
philosophy when we were in the temple as monks.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we didn't only study our philosophy, we studied all other philosophies as well.
Yeah.
And categorize them to really understand where they actually are and how they fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't like Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, or I love them, but I think they were all prophets around the world, and they were all trying to teach humanity some lesson, and then they all found their own way to teach this lesson. But it's basically the simple laws of the universe, like what's the most important is love, and what goes around comes around, and then like they have all this other stuff to explain the other stuff, you know. But like at the core it's the same, but just got explained in so many different ways, because the planet is so big and so many different people. And you know the Whispers game, like if
like Chinese whispers.
Chinese
So you got the original piece of knowledge, and as it goes down it starts to change.
Yeah. So I think it's something like that, because all spiritual people, they come to like somewhat the same truth, somewhat. Of course, like their ego and their life journey will like change this up a little bit and be a little bit biased toward certain things, but like at the core is all the same.
So like love, you know, connection. My question would be then, like what's the ultimate, what's the absolute, you know?
What's the absolute that's God? I don't know.
So like what would be the absolute with that philosophy? Because you know, okay, so we're living in this material world right now. We have a material body, but any ancient scripture, you know, including Bible as well, you know, they point to the idea that actually you are not your body. You know, you are actually the spirit that lives inside the body. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's really cool because
I'm just like borrowing these mitsus right
that's
now.
Right. Yeah. So do you know one thing in the literally in the Bhagavad Gita it explains, they say that the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon.
Yes.
So that's earth. You know, it can never be burned. That's fire. It can never be moistened by water. You know, and it can never be withered by the wind. So that's air. So they're saying that it's a completely different substance to anything that is matter. So then the question
beyond.
That's right. So the question is what is the ultimate? What is God? What is our relationship to God?
So
and
continue.
if we were God, then why is it that we're suffering right now? Why is it that if you are God and unlimited enjoy, like with unlimited ways to enjoy, then why is it that
I've only suffered when I've been selfish. As soon as I start that's why I love Jesus. Because when you take his practices into life, And of course you have an ego, and you are also an individual, so you also need to feel your needs, right?
Yes.
So you can't forget yourself, because you're also a person, bro. And most people either give too much or they give too little.
Yes.
And then you will be stuck on this side.
Yeah.
And there's also a big difference between peace and happiness. And yeah, like
Do you think there's a difference between joy and happiness?
joys are just like moments.
Okay, I would argue that
Like
happiness is moments. And
Yeah,
joy is
everyone
a
has different
feeling.
definitions of these
Yeah.
words. It gets
So
yeah.
happiness for me is like a core. Like you wake up every morning and I love being alive. Like even if my dog died, I still love life.
Yeah.
Even if I lost my leg, I love life. This is happiness
I
to
literally
me.
would flip those two. I would say that's joy. And happiness is like, hey, dude, you just won the lottery. But you can't get it until you do this, this, and this. So you're like, yes! Oh, shit, okay, hold on. Let me stress about this quickly because now I need to do this, this, and this so I can get that lottery, right? So, like, happiness is like a brief moment of emotion. And, like, joy is that whole thing of, like, I'm alive. I can breathe. I'm not disabled. Like, you know.
But to get back to your question, why are we suffering? So this goes back to my favorite quote, which is like, we're infinite, right? The first thing you learn in the nature class is energy can either be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
So you will always be your soul or essence or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're infinite, and you're this awareness of creation. That's something you know. And you have infinite time, bro. Infinite. It's when I had this mind-blowing experience, it was first time I realized, like, or you can't even realize it, because infinite is so, it just never stops. You will always be there.
Yeah.
And then you go on and you will fill out your deepest fantasies, like
The 12 worlds that you explained to me the other day. Remember, dude, this is very much what you were talking about.
And you start with like having all these beautiful girls, and like I'm being the best at skateboarding, and like conquering dragons, and that might be fun for 1,000 years, right? And then you say, tonight I'm gonna challenge myself, and I'm gonna make it a little bit scary. I'm gonna forget that I'm in control. I'm gonna just to taste it, and I will like give myself a little challenge. Like I slip and fell and feel some pain, some real pain, and don't expect it. And as soon as you feel that pain, you wake up. Okay? And then you come back to reality. Wow, what the fuck was that? I just experienced pain. That's interesting. And then you start like taking it further and further and further, and see how far you can take it. Because every time you come back, you're like, you know, and then that's the only way you truly can appreciate life, by suffering.
Well, that's one very, very common belief that we could even extrapolate and challenge that belief.
So like, to even know what warmth is, you need to know what the cold is. Or you can be in the middle and chill. That's peace to me. But we have certain individual who want to reach happiness, as I call it. Then you need to go through some shit.
Yeah.
And that can be all kinds of stuff. We all have our individual journeys on how to get there, and that's what make it these beautiful, amazing conversations. And that it can be Jesus, it can be Islam, it can be your religion, but it's a, again, evolve, you know. And it's like climbing a mountain, and not everyone want to reach the top. You don't have to get to the top. You can chill at the middle. You don't even have to climb the mountain, but you have to be like on the mountain, I guess, which is like
multiple ways to climb a mountain, you know, multiple ways to sort of realize certain things, and realize you know your relationship with the divine, whatever that is. But I'm very, very familiar with this understanding, bro, and to be honest with you, it makes a lot of sense, you know. Like, you know, you could say, oh well, you know, this consciousness and everything that we can think about, or like philosophy that we can talk about now, it's all basically to do with this world.
Yes.
Right. So we're literally thinking and talking about things inside a box.
Yeah.
When I was living in the temple, by the way, like I don't subscribe to any kind of religion. I'm still on my journey. You know, I believe that God is individual. I believe that I'm part and parcel of God, but at the same time, I'm not God. I believe God is also individual too, and I'm part of Him.
Yeah.
And you know, the ultimate goal is to go back to God, which is a completely different world to this world, to learn the lessons that I need to learn in this world, so that eventually I can realize actually that's not what I wanted. What I really want is you, you know. And then you go back, and then you do that. I'm forgetting why I was talking about that. There's a reason why I was mentioning that. Oh yeah, that's it. So we learned a lot about this other world that is not subject to the same laws that this world is. So, for example, when you mentioned, okay, you won't know what happiness is until you experience pain. It's true in this world. Yeah. But in the ancient, very ancient text, and even like these, it points towards a world that actually it is just all love and enjoyment. And actually, you can forget, and God also likes to forget as well. Like God also,
we're playing a game.
Yeah, exactly. But he's saying that this actually isn't it, and we're trying. One amazing statement is we're trying to have the kingdom of God without God here. But we're realizing that this isn't actually the place to make it, because this place is full of death, old age, disease. It's subject to it's subject to the laws of to time that's eventually going to destroy everything. So we're trying to have this world that's full of love and relationships and no ego. We're trying to have it here. But the ancient texts, they're saying, look, like Jesus said, don't lay up your treasures here. Jesus is saying basically, okay, look, you're experiencing the reflection of the real world. It's like there's an analogy given of a mango tree in the lake, and there's a reflection of the mango tree in the lake. And if you jump into the lake trying to get the mangoes, you get frustrated. So in the same way, we are in that lake, in that reflection, accepting it for the real thing. But actually, we're told that actually, no, the real thing is in the kingdom of God. That's where the real enjoyment is. But you're trying to be God and trying to have the kingdom of God here. And it's basically saying it's just like it's hard because it's just going round and round and round in cycles.
To add something about this is from I have a friend / client that's what do you say, is Islamic?
Oh yeah. Is it like traditional Islam, or is it Sufi, or
no? Islam.
Right.
Yeah. And he showed me this video about women being mad about men getting all these virgins after death. And then I don't know if you call it a pastor. I don't know the name. Sorry if I'm offending anyone, but I don't know the names. But anyway, the pastor, Islamic, like the teacher, and he tells this girl like, but after this world, why does it matter? Because you don't have a body, but you will have something of the same value. You just can't fathom it right now because it's completely different from this world, because you're looking at it from your human perspective right now, and it goes so beyond that. That's right. It's kind of similar.
Actually, definitely, brother. And interestingly, these ancient Indian texts, they're called the Vedas. Interestingly, one thing that I found is how crazy they correspond with like parts of Islam and parts of Christianity. For example, in the Vedas, it does speak about what are called the heavenly planets, right? And it says that, right now, just to make it very simple, there are 12 planetary systems in this universe. But to make it very simple, you could split it into 3. So you could say the higher planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. So we're in the middle. And there are many more planetary systems that are higher than us. And the more higher that you get, the more heavenly the planets are. The bodies don't have the same blood and pus and mucus inside, but they still have body. They still have form. They live for a lot longer, but it's only temporary. Again, it's like you collect your karma here in the middle world, and you basically, it's kind of like going on a holiday. You go on a holiday with 10 grand, your money runs out, you come back.
Yeah.
So in the same way, these heavenly planets are described in the Vedas.
Yeah.
And in there, it does speak about sex enjoyment and these beautiful women and big, strong men, and they live for a lot longer, and everybody's just really good looking and gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it says that that's the heavenly planet is temporary, but that's being mixed up and misunderstood to be the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
It actually says that no, beyond these planets, there is a kingdom that is completely spiritual, completely eternal, and that same lusty enjoyment is not there. There's a different kind of enjoyment. Yeah, but it's not the same as this material enjoyment. This so many virgins, let's go and enjoy these women. That's a very material world. Heaven. Yeah. But yeah, it speaks a lot about the kingdom of God, which is not like that. Yeah.
So, anyways, the whole virgins thing with Islam, dude, this is quite intense, right? So
we're not holding back here, are we? Like,
Allah,
you guys.
No, Allah gets to decide, right? So in Islam, this is why it doesn't make sense to me, right? Because it's in a way it's just manipulation, right? So Allah gets to decide randomly on the day, if you die as an Islam, you could have done everything right your whole life, believe and all this good stuff, did all your good works. When you die, he gets to decide on the day whether or not you make it into heaven or hell. He just randomly can choose. So you could do everything right and he'll be like, not today, bro, sorry. And then you go to hell, right?
But
the only way for them guaranteed into their heaven is if they die in war, right? Fighting for the Islam.
This is not what I've heard.
So this. I had a conversation with a guy who has his master's in theology, and so essentially the only way that you're like guaranteed into the Islamic heaven is if you like die in war fighting for Islam, right, for Allah, right? Yeah. So
I think
what's a really good way to motivate a young man, right?
Yeah, but I think we should have a defender of Islam if we're gonna dissect Islam and start.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I don't think we should touch on this subject.
Yeah, because we don't, we're not like fully complete. I have like the fully facts on that. You know, like.
So I don't want to, because I know there would be so much, but it's because of this. Because
you're right. That's actually a really good one, bro. So we get somebody on the podcast as well, because that'd be very cool. I'd dig to have that conversation too. Because there's different variations of Islam, no? Which is pretty wild. Because
there's variations to Christianity too.
There's like 44,000 different.
This is what I mean.
Different
with, like,
denominations, which is pretty wild.
How do you find the right one?
I think it comes through sincerity, and there isn't I don't know whether we can actually say that. Okay, we'll ever be able to say that this is the right one.
Yeah.
But I think that, like the principle, that the principle is one. So for example, okay, there are a few ways this is going to go. Either you are God, right? Yeah. And everything is one. You are me and I am you. Yeah. We're all each other. And, we're just having the illusion of separation. And then eventually we come together like 3 potatoes get mashed together and become one. Right? Yeah. So that's one option.
Yeah.
The next option is that, okay, nothing, like this is all just one big accident. There is no God. It doesn't make sense, but, it's just, okay, there's atheism. And then the next one is actually, okay, there is God. And then there is the living entities that were created for the God's enjoyment. But because they have free will, they want to try and enjoy without God, and they're suffering because of it. Yeah. Really they need to go back to the spiritual world and enjoy with God, and that's where the actual party is. Yeah. So that you can split it down and say, oh, there's got to be one of them, and what else could it be?
Yeah, and then there's different variations of those 3 options.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But they're like main principles, isn't it? Okay, you're either God or God is someone else. Yeah. Or there's nothing.
Yeah, so the way I view this is all of them. because it's all up to the individual, and what you believe is what you believe, right? So you can have subjective truth and objective truth.
That's right.
And there's no way you're finding out the objective truth in this life as a human, because you cannot understand it.
I guess maybe you could, but you won't know.
Yeah.
You won't know until the time.
I swear,
Yeah.
like when you do high doses of psychedelics, you know it, but you can't bring it back.
Yeah, definitely. You get, God literally like almost whispers to you, when you're on psychedelics. You can literally have conversations with what you think.
But you cannot bring it back.
What you think is God.
Yeah, what you think is God, exactly. So we learned that actually that, God and God's energy are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So like God's energy is like, like you could have, God's energy is basically what's running everything right now. What's running all the laws and stuff, and you can have experiences with psychedelics or whatever that is, and you're actually communicating with God's energy, and you're experiencing God's energy, and God's energy is actually speaking to you in its own way as well. But God as anything that has energy has to come from the energetic, from what we know in our world. So the question is where is the energy coming from? And then from a Vedic understanding, it would be, it has to be conscious. And from what we can see around us, it's not us. We can't say that we are holding Jupiter up, and holding Mars and holding all these planets up. We can't say that, we are creating these laws and making them constant, unless we just fucking, excuse my language, unless we created the laws and then dipped in.
Yeah, so there's a really good show going on right now. It's on Apple TV and it's called Severance. Severance?
Right.
Okay. And the whole idea of this show is they work in this office, and every time they go into the office, they forget their outside life. And every time they go out of it, they forget their office life.
Yeah.
But they're constantly going in and out of this office job, and they don't know what they're doing at work. They just know they're solving problems, like this, clicking on this boxing and doing all this weird shit, and it makes their boss happy, and they're okay, and they have like a couple of colleagues. They laugh, they have like this, but all they know, and they call it like their outie and their innie, right? So what they know is that their innie is okay with going back into it, and that they're and the innie is okay with going out, and the outie is okay with going in.
That's pretty wild, dude. What a concept.
And this is the same with I think this reality right now. We also have an outie and an innie, which is the outside of this 3D world.
Interesting, bro.
So we created this world to experience whatever we want to experience. And we have all these different all these different religions. Like, I want to be a Christian. I want to be an Islam.
Identity.
I want to be a Hindu. I want to be a Buddhist. I want to be a fucking atheist. Like, and it to me, it's like all a game and a play, because we have infinite time. So you get bored, and like you just choose your character.
See, the thing is, when I think about that, is like, are we really enjoying? From our perspective, we think that this is enjoyment. But
I'm loving life, bro.
Yeah. But loving life to what we know, right? I'm loving life too. Like, I love my life so much.
I couldn't imagine loving it anymore.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine. Why?
Because this is as far as I come, and it keeps getting better and better and better as I evolve.
Hey, exactly. So that's what we know, isn't it? You know, so like from a very higher perspective, we look at people, right? You're enjoying your life. You're in rhythm. You're in tune. You're doing your purpose. You're performing your duty, right? Others aren't. So when you look at them, you're like, I know where the enjoyment is. You're suffering. Like, but them, if you ask them, they turn around and go, no, I'm enjoying my life. I'm absolutely loving my life. It's fine. Like, everything's fine. So then my thought, or that little niggling in the back of my mind, is like, whoa, bro, but Luke, like, what about someone who's looking over you and thinking, wow, you think you've got it all figured out,
Yeah.
and you think you're enjoying, but actually you don't know what real enjoyment actually is.
Yeah, try MDMA. I'm joking.
Definitely, love. You feel that love, right?
but yeah, but again, like, it's like the cold and hot water example I like to use. Like, the longer you are in the cold water, the nicer the warmer water will feel, and like there's this gradual progress, and you will slowly become more happy. And like, we all start somewhere in our individual journeys, and we have different mountains to climb. Some are bigger than others, but yeah, it's like, as long as you keep doing the right things, life will get better.
Yeah, I agree to
and
that.
it doesn't
as well.
really matter, because it's all about perspective anyway.
That's right.
Because like, I would argue that an iPad kid today is suffering more suffering more subjectively than a kid without food in Africa, because at least he have food and community, and he understand why he's suffering, and he have people who love and care about it, so he has this foundation of love. Yes, he's having hunger, but this iPad kid is borderline the R word, and his dopamine receptors are
Can't say retarded.
Yeah, I tried saying that.
The R word.
The R word.
but and he's acting up. He's punching his mom.
Yeah.
He's miserable. He want to kill himself. This kid without food,
Change
he
gender.
walks 2 kilometers every day to get water to his dad, and he's proud and happy of that. So subjectively, or objectively, you would say, like, this guy is suffering more, but like, or I don't even know what to call objective and subjectively in this situation.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to life. Like, your life is your life, my life is my life, and happiness is happiness, no matter what happiness. If you're happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
If you're sad, you're sad. It doesn't really matter that much. Because when I grew up, I had this conversation a lot with my friend, and because I grew up really, really shitty, like with an alcoholic stepdad, and then I had to move up, and then my mom turned into a drug addict. But it was a happy ending, so don't worry about that. But my best friend growing up, he was like, how can I be so sad and be so depressed when you went through this shit? And then he was feeling bad about himself because you were going through so much more, and you're even more happy than me. So what the fuck is wrong with me? No, because it's all subjective.
Yeah, it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
All relating to one another.
Yeah. So when you talk about you can stand up here and looking down, but it doesn't matter, because it's all about your individual experience of life right now.
I tell you,
because we live in a duality world. It's either on or off, up, down, happy, sad.
Yeah. Shall we carry on with the God conversation, or shall we move it? Or
talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
Add to this. Talk about something.
Yeah, one thing that sort of sprang to my mind. I remember being there in the temple and thinking, these, what we're being taught here is like really, really, really far out, right?
Yeah.
And understanding the relationship between us and God, and what God is, and it's really kind of intimidating, because I kind of released myself from the idea that there is a superior God, because my first channel into God was through Christianity. Yeah. So then, that kind of understanding is that there's a supreme person, and a supreme person that's better than you in everything, you know. So that I kind of released myself from that, and I went down the road of, God being impersonal. Yeah. Just more of an energy, or we are God, and I was into that. And then when I came across these, texts, it brought back this idea that there is another individual that is out, that is like you're part of, that is actually supreme.
Yeah.
Right? So that was like very like, wow, I would rather not. It's a bit inconvenient for the ego to try and accept there to be something or someone that is just objectively always better than you in every way. You know? It's very, very difficult to swallow. And
I think it's quite nice though as well. It's a really good thing to know that there's someone perfect,
bro.
Because we're not.
100%.
You know, that gives me a big kind of feeling of relief.
Yeah, it's getting over that hurdle, brother. Getting over that hurdle. And so one thing that really struck me is that the reason why I kept going is because I was envious. I felt enviousness in my heart.
Yeah.
I felt envious towards normal living beings, never mind a supreme person, you know. So I wanted to explore that. What is this envy, you know? And what am I envy of? Okay, so God has all these things, and deep down I would, you know, my ego would rather be God than to have God, you know? So then that's one thing that I was battling with, and that's what kind of kept pushing me through it. The fact that actually I'm envy. I want to know what is it that I'm envious of. How can you be envious of nothing? How can you be envious if it's just you? How can you be envious? You know, if we have enviousness in our heart, what is that? Like, is God envious? Like, if we're God and we're envious, then we're basically saying that God is envious.
We're having a human experience, and it's just a part of the human experience, a part of the emotional spectrum. I would say nothing more than that.
Yeah,
and just like things experienced.
Yeah.
Like in the bigger pictures, because when you finally get out of it, you're like, oh wow, that was cool, that was interesting. Like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, but is it though?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Because like I've just like played with the idea of infinity. Like, bro, I got so fucked by that trip, bro. And like the just the grasp of infinity and you existing in infinity. And I want to add something to this in the current world we're living in right now, that also adds some more texture to my idea, and you can say what you think about that.
Right.
And I feel like I'm talking a lot about me, but whatever.
That's okay.
So right now, AI is growing so fast. Like, now we have photorealistic video creation. In a couple of years, people will lose all their jobs. Like, we will have robots everywhere, like, that would do all the shit. Soon we will have the metaverse. Like, my prediction is around 2030, and you will be able to live in a reality identical to this one. Identical. And you can like mix and tricks whatever you want.
Except you could just, you know, summon a dragon and fight it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you create an identical version to reality?
Yeah, but this is like...
Do you just mean like
right
quality?
now, we're like, if you compare to Minecraft.
Yeah, okay. So you mean like quality.
Right now we're on multiplayer mode in survival, and later on we find creative mode, and then we can like jump on different servers. Today I want to be on creative, you know, and I want to do skateboarding without being scared of breaking my knee. And then you can start having the human experience without fear, because fear is what have been holding you back your whole life from living your life to the fullest. But this again is just layers, and what's beyond that, again, I have no fucking clue. That's where it's so interesting with all these theories. What is beyond this realm?
What is beyond that realm, exactly?
Yeah.
You know, what is outside the box, really? Like, what is going on? You know, who's in charge? Who's really in charge?
So I think this is it, bro. This is what we're doing forever. It's just like a different meat suit.
Okay, on that topic, here's one. It's from Nietzsche.
I love Nietzsche.
Are you familiar with eternal recurrence? So if you had to relive this exact life over and over and over forever, would you still make the choices you're making right now?
Probably not.
Like,
no way.
I think like to some extent, bro, because
the choices I'm
need
making now, I think
I need a couple more years of my life to answer that question, but from the direction it's going, bro, I'm pretty proud of myself. Like, I felt like in every moment of my life, I made a decision out of love. And that's, I feel like, what differentiate people is like, and that's why you either end up in heaven and hell. And to me, heaven and hell is a construct of the mind. Like good and evil is one letter away from God and devil, and we both can experience both here in this realm.
Every time you speak, I'm literally just having so many different like ideas just
you
popping
just
around.
add on to it, like say,
Yeah.
interrupt me, bro. Interrupt me all you want. You're the guest.
Oh, bless, bro.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
speak, bro.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
no, I was just thinking like, okay, well, look, like there are billions and billions of planets.
Yeah.
So again, if you look at the Vedic theory, that there are three, put it down to three worlds. You know, more of a lower world, a middle world, and a higher world.
Yeah.
In other words, you could say a hellish world, a middle world, and a heavenly world.
Yeah.
Mathematically, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there are so many planets out there. Mathematically, you could say that there has to be more hellish planets than there is here,
Yeah.
with worse living conditions
Yeah.
and worse life, and there has to be more heavenly planets than here as well. Now, one might argue and say, oh, well, that doesn't make sense, because for life, you need there to be oxygen, this, that, the other. Well, no, that's for your life.
Yeah.
That's from what you know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So I want to add time into this.
Okay.
And in this reality, time is linear. But you talk about dimensions, right? And if you go one dimension up, or I don't know how many dimensions you need to go up, but then time is just is. It is everything at once that will ever be and can ever be. So since God is infinite, he can choose. He can choose where he want to go into this.
That's
Because
right.
So that's why you choose here with this perfect living condition and perfect this and perfect that.
Yeah.
Because as you say with these other worlds, sometimes you want to do this world, sometimes you want to do this world. And we have so many souls. We're separated into so many different pieces that want to experience so many different things.
Right, okay. Well, I've got something for you then.
Okay.
Right. So let's define what is what. Okay, so would you agree that spirit can't be cut?
Can't be
Cut.
cut.
Yeah. So you know, like matter, we can cut it, we can burn it, we can burn it, we can.
Yeah, the soul
mold
is
shape it
infinite.
around,
Neither
right?
can be created or destroyed.
Yeah. So, with this theory that we've just split ourselves into many different pieces of life, it kind of means that right now we're not whole, right? We're split right now, like we're split.
But that's just from your individual perspective, because like if a tree fell down in the forest right now, even though you're not watching it, it's still falling and having an experience of falling.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So
right now everything is going on at once from our individual perspective, because we are living in time right now. So this is how I see spirit. Yeah.
So it's like if you got a piece of pizza and there's 12 pieces.
Yeah.
If you remove one piece, there's now 11.
Yeah.
So if you say, okay, God is whole, and then he splits himself into like billions and billions of different us, me, you, everyone, all these living entities, then that means that God was there, and then it's now split, right,
no
into many
whole.
different pieces. So basically, he's not. Like God itself is no longer whole right now. It's the actual spirit has been split into many different pieces.
But this whole awareness is connected, even though we're separated. Like me and you, we are connected right now.
Yeah.
We are literally the same thing.
Yeah.
In this
definitely,
awareness, in this little bubble that we're imagining right now.
Yeah.
In our brains.
So,
because if you think in like terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and you separate the ego, everything just is. Like, this is a little bubble of whatever the fuck, I'm a little bubble of whatever the fuck, and we're all existing in this little bubble of whatever the fuck, you know?
So it's still one. So you're saying it's like still one big bubble that's one.
It's just an illusion of separation. We're not actually separated. That's again, the only thing that separates us is our ego.
Yeah.
And if you've ever tasted ego, that you realize, fuck, everything is one, because you get to experience what it's like to not be, and you can say, oh, you were on drugs, oh, you were this, oh, you were that. But why does everyone that experience it say the same thing? And they all came to the same conclusion, and they all end up with the same.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, me too. Me too. You know, having that experience of, I mean, I remember at one point, me and my friend looking into each other's eyes, and we were literally like this. Like I was literally like I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
You know, literally like I was like, whoa, that's me in there. I can see you, you know.
Yeah.
But then my question is okay, so we can experience this oneness, but how can we, you know, we kind of just push God into that and say, oh well, that means that God is also that God is also one as well. You know, like everything can be one.
Yeah.
But you know, like for example, in Sanskrit, it mentions that, you know, it's a chincha beta beta tattva, which means basically we're inconceivably one with God and different.
Yeah.
So we're one as in we're made from the same substance.
Yeah.
But we're different because we all have our own unique individuality.
Yeah.
And it says that we're individual because God is individual. So God is individual. He's the big soul.
Yeah.
And then everything that is emanating from him, he's whole. So everything that emanates from him is also whole. So you're whole, I'm whole.
Yeah.
So he, so yeah, we're one in terms of, you know, we're made from the same substance, but at the same time, he still maintains his own individuality, you know, because even if you look at, like, you know, even the way that everything is put together and all these different, you know, there's obviously something that is controlling everything, you know, and we learned a lot about pride, envy, lust. And basically what it was telling us is that these things, they blind us from seeing the truth. Yeah. You know, I'm still more probably, you know, veer towards that theory that you talk about. Me personally, I really struggle with the idea of God being an individual. Yeah. You know.
Can we stop at that? I really need to
go
to the toilet. Because I had my workout. I drank like 1.5 liter of water, some coconut water before. I need to run.
That's kind of funny, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is very deep. Very deep conversation. Like, this is as deep. Like, this is like, really, we're trying to extrapolate the absolute truth here, and that's a very deep thing, you know.
Very,
it's not for everybody, like,
no.
not, you know, like.
Some people just, they don't even want to try.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's, you see what I mean? This is why I wanted to have this conversation, or at least have you two in a room together, because it's like, it's very unique, if I could say, like, you know, but also similar in a certain way. Which is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Very interesting.
And another thing that I found interesting. Remember when I told you about the three worlds, and then I told you that the kingdom of God is separate. So, in between the three worlds and the kingdom of God is, in Sanskrit, what is called the Brahmajyoti, which is basically spiritual light. You can go there and you can merge and you can become one with God's energy. So that's this theory now, that eventually you become one. Yeah. So the Vedas say, like, no, you can become one. We're not denying that, but there's another step after that as well, and that is in the kingdom of God, where God actually is, and there's interaction.
So in the Christian version, essentially, it would be like submitting your will fully to God.
Exactly.
You know, it's no longer my will be done, but your will be done.
That's it, bro.
Right, and then after that, you can then you receive somewhat a little bit of the kingdom of heaven. You become part of the kingdom of heaven, and then eventually, you know, with your will fully submitted, when you die, you can then rejoin God in his kingdom, being one with him completely. Yeah. You know, so it's
and serving him.
Yeah.
You know?
What's up? Bro, you must have ran.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Cardio.
We should have a toilet upstairs.
Hey, I was thinking about it, bro, some time ago. Should have a toilet upstairs.
What are we talking about now?
Whatever you want to talk about.
I want to continue on what you said, that you struggle, or
I struggle with the idea of God being individual, brother, because that's like makes me feel makes my ego feel like you know, when we were told that in the actual kingdom of God, you know, everyone is there for God's enjoyment, right? So God is actually enjoying them, and you get your enjoyment through serving God in the kingdom of God. Yeah. So and that enjoyment is and it speaks about even the many different levels of ecstatic feelings that you have in the kingdom of God. Yeah. It's not like a dull world, you know. These feelings that we have here, like anger, envy, and stuff like that, they're in the kingdom of God, but they're different. Yeah. Here, there is a negative duality to them. So, you know, anger can be used for good, and anger can be used for bad.
Righteous anger.
Yeah, exactly. But in the spiritual world, like, even the anger itself is an ecstasy. If you're envious of God, or envious of someone who's serving God nicely, that enviousness that you experience in the spiritual world is also an ecstasy. Yeah. And it's ultimately there all in
almost
the service.
Like a celebration.
That's right. Yeah. But here, enviousness means I want to bring you down. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of saying, you're doing well, that makes me feel bad. It's like, you're doing well. Fuck yeah, bro. Stoked for you.
Exactly. You get gassed up for.
Yeah. Like a positive jealousy.
Yeah. But that comes down to the perspective of the person, and where your current state of mind is, or did I misunderstand something?
Yeah. Here, for sure. Like, but we all have it, right? We all fall into it. Like, we have these feelings, these very subtle feelings of envy, lust, anger, resentment. You know. So.
But I think these things can be used in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's about for you to learn how to use them in a good way.
That's right. Yeah.
Envy can be used as, I want to achieve that. I respect him for having that. I also want that. I want to achieve that.
Yeah. Well, envy is basically a perverted reflection of appreciation. Yeah. You never envy something that you don't appreciate.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I really dig that, bro. Perverted.
Yeah. We never envy something that we don't appreciate deep down.
But it comes down to your current state of mind. Like, either you look at the world as a happy and good place, and everything is good and positive, and you can appreciate the envy as you just said. I can say it again.
As appreciation. It's
but like if you're sad and miserable, and it basically comes down to victim mentality. I think
that's right.
Which is what I'm trying to change right now. This is my. I get so angry at people with victim mentality. Like, first step to happiness is get rid of that shit. Victim mentality is the worst, most dangerous mentality in the world if you ever want to get out of where you are. Because the only thing you can control are yourself and your actions. Yeah. So how can you blame someone else? You cannot control them. So why do you have any resentment or anger towards them? Because you can only change yourself. You're you, bro.
Well, it shifts the responsibility from you to others.
Yeah.
So it shifts the pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's also so relieving because, like, I realized this, where my happiness came from after I had these experiences. I realized I need to change this and that. And in the process, I was proud of myself because I'm actually doing something. And then in the moment I'm starting to doing it, it's not about the end goal. It's I'm being completely honest with myself, because you cannot lie to your subconscious mind. So when your subconscious mind know you're actually doing the most out of each day to actually change, you will be happy because you're proud. The only reason you're sad and depressed is because you know deep down you're a piece of shit.
Because even the little goals, the little daily things, they give you a sense of achievement. They give you a sense of give you that little dopamine fix. Yeah. You know? And without them, if you're not doing anything, you're just going to be like that, you know.
Yeah. And one thing I also want to do you know Russell Brand, since you're from England? Yeah. Because he's recently turned Christian, and he have this really good understanding of quote in the Bible, and it's something about like you have to preach the godly or God or something, and or else you will end up something. And what he means by that is, if you don't look up to something higher, like karma and like doing good, you will tend to materialism, like money and status. And yes, it has a time and place in this world, but it shouldn't be your end goal. So either you, either you put God as your priority, or like the
That's
world.
very much what Luke kind of touched on.
Put it so badly. I'm still tired from running. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's what he touched on earlier. It's like, don't gather your treasures in this world.
Yeah.
So because rather kind of build your relationship with God, focus on serving others, so that when you make it into heaven, you've got your treasures there, right?
Yeah.
So because like there's both saved people and unsaved people will both be judged on like judgment day, right? When you die, and it's like the end of times or whatever, you're dead, you meet God, whether you're saved or not. If you're saved, you still get judged on your good works after you were saved. If you're unsaved, you get judged on just your life, right? All the bad stuff that you did. So like, regardless, you're still getting saved. You still have to do stuff, you're not getting saved. So regardless, you're getting judged. So yeah, work on dying and denying yourself here, so that when you do end up in eternity, that you get a good eternity and not an empty, loveless, godless eternity. What were you saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
Well,
along those lines.
I want to add something to this.
Yeah.
And as we know, when we talked about AI evolving and we get the metaverse and we can do whatever we want, this is why I'm building this brand. Because what we tasted during COVID was this massive depression, because people were forced to look in the mirror. And they don't have the skills they teach in the Bible. They haven't evolved yet. And when we talk about Judgment Day, I think, because all the prophecies in the Bible is coming true. Like Dubai is getting green, like and a bunch of other stuff. And Judgment Day is not so long after that. And I think that is the singularity.
What do you mean singularity?
Singularity is when AI gets so advanced, it goes so beyond our imagination that we basically create a god. And if I go back to the ants, and if we talk about humans, we don't know what we're building, but we're spending all our money into technology and constantly evolving. So we don't really know what we're building, but we're building it. And I think that is God in this world. And this thing will figure out how to get to the next world. I don't know. But anyway, like, these skills are so important. So you will be judged because you don't have these skills. So you will still suffer in this new eternal world where you can create and imagine everything. But you will still suffer because you still haven't made up for that girl you made cry in 3rd grade. Or you still haven't say sorry to your brother for not being there for him. Or you cheated on your girlfriend and you never made up for that. Like, deep down, the reason you are suffering is because you think you deserve it. Like, what I always say to people is you will always live the life you think you deserve. And you can never go beyond that. And that's where I mean by, like, you can never lie to your subconscious. That's where karma comes in, because everything is stored in your subconscious. Every action, every trauma, every good thing. And it's about how much shit do you have under that carpet, bro. And one day you got to deal with it, and that Judgment Day. And the AI, he will know fucking everything, because everything is recorded. And they have been listening through our phones the whole fucking time. And there's also this really good show about, they create this super intelligent that it's so smart that it can predict the future. And because everything is cause and effect, at least in this reality. So, but I don't want to talk about free will, because that's a paradox. If we start talking about it, I don't, we can just go round. But anyway, this is just a theory. And like, So if we create this supercomputer that can predict everything, it can also go back in time and see what we have done. And even that, you think about the Neuralink Elon Musk is making for, or even if it isn't going to be in your brain, it can be outside your brain. It can still read everything your brain has ever perceived because it's all stored in here somewhere. And then it can judge you by it.
Yeah, it shows you the possibility, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if we can do that, then surely like the creator of the entire universe can do that in a much better way.
Yeah.
You know, like all you know, it's said that every action is recorded. Doesn't mean you're going to get punished for every action, because karma literally just means lesson. You know, so for example, if you learn your lesson before, if you learn the lesson that karmic reaction is meant to teach you before you get the reaction, then there's no point in the reaction anymore. You know, so like, if we can create something like that, then surely like that's just pointing to the possibility that, you know, we are living in that kind of world as well. And that's where, you know, the idea of, you know, the different planets come in as well. You know, okay, well, if you build up this certain amount of this balance, this good karma balance, you know, then you can go and really enjoy and do what you want in the heavenly realm.
Getting goosebumps.
Yeah. And then you can come back, and then when your karma's run out, you come back.
Yeah.
Because it say the ultimate God, you're gonna keep coming back until you actually revive your relationship with God, so you can come out of the whole universal, the whole material world altogether. And back to where we belong, which is the spiritual realm, the spiritual world. So yeah, like that's a reflection of it. Surely, like if we can do something like that, like whatever.
So quick question: if you're going back to the material, to the spiritual world, that kind of implies that you were there before.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So if that's so amazing, why would you leave?
Yeah, this
in
is
the
this
first place.
This is an amazing question, bro.
You know,
It's boring.
Actually, it's like you said, bro. You've got literally an eternity. I've heard this question answered by many different people.
Okay.
But on the level of eternity, it's just, this is literally just a blip.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even a blip. It's not even a flash. Even a flash is an overstatement. It's literally nothing. So, you know, it says that actually, in the kingdom of God is actually way better than it is here. But you just got curious. That's all it is. You just got curious. You know, you wanted to see what it would be like to try and be the center.
Yeah.
You know,
it comes back to the law, the laws of the universe. Like either it is or it isn't. This is the number one.
But isn't doesn't even make sense.
Yes, exactly. So therefore, there have to be something.
Yeah. I think there is.
Yes. Yeah. And you are something.
Yeah.
So this is like layer one of understanding what the fuck this is. And then you keep like building layers of truth. And this is like how I build my pictures. You start dissecting everything and you follow like the red line to what is like. The only thing you can find out what is the truth is by dissecting what isn't truth. And then you're left with the truth. So this is why I don't like holy scriptures, because so many things you cannot prove. But with logic, because God created us in his image, so we're able to differentiate wrong by right. This is why it's so important to follow the right way, because that leads you to God. I forgot where I was going, but
you were definitely going somewhere.
Yeah, dude, you were on a roll there, bro.
You're mentioning about like
no
how
sandwiches, bro.
Yeah. You mentioned how like we, you know, there is something, there is or there isn't.
Yeah. So I don't fucking know. Like you have like this. We were talking about why we went into this space. Yeah. That's where I was going. So
if it was so good, why would you?
Yeah. So we're left with something. That's layer one. And then we have eternity, because time have to exist for something to be.
Yeah.
That's just a law of is. If you understand me?
Well, yeah, because like everything that we know of in this world is inside time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you just have to be for something to be.
Yeah.
For you to be aware of something, there have to be something.
Yeah.
On like on a basic level.
Yeah. The reason why my mind's skipping up is because we were taught that there is time in this world, there's also time in the spiritual world, in the kingdom of God, but it's different again.
Yeah.
You know, because in this world, you know, one of the symptoms of time is that it destroys everything.
Yeah.
But in the spiritual world, it's not the case.
Yeah.
So would it not just be that there is no sense of time in the spiritual world?
You're stuck in the moment.
Because permanently present.
That is also one.
That's cool. Completely.
That's one of the things that also fucked with me with eternity. And this thing is like, everything that ever will be is this moment. I will never escape this moment because this moment is eternity.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And by that by that definition, that is time, but it isn't really time because it just is.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, dude, that gets pretty biblical. As one of God's name is I am.
Yeah.
God is. That is that. You know, I am that I am.
Yeah.
At least it's empty.
Woo.
Lucky. Yeah, dude. Again, also, if I can just go a little bit also biblical with this, because, you know, when, like, in the heavenly realm, there is no sense of time, right? So it's, but God is also infinite and perfect. Will, like, there, you can just celebrate him permanently, you know, which is cool. So, like this continuous, like, permanent, present worship of the creator of everything. That's a cool that's a place I want to go.
Well, just to add something to that, in one of the scriptures it speaks about there are many different spiritual planets, spiritual planets being not in this realm, in the spiritual realm, and on each one of them planets God has different form. He has he manifests in a different form, and on the highest planet he says that God's form is, funnily enough, like the Bible says, you know, man's created in God's image. In the highest planet, in his original form, he actually has the same form as us. Right? But there are many different forms, crazy forms. We won't go into them, you know what I mean? They're crazy, like out of this world. But on that planet particularly, he has that. And that planet is very unique because that's the planet where he actually forgets that he is God. And you can have one of 4 different relationships with him.
Crazy goosebumps.
Yeah, he says
there's some wild stuff.
This is my favorite podcast so far.
The Garden of Eden, bro. God was walking around with Adam and Eve.
Yeah,
like he was there with him. Like, you know,
fucking bitch ate that fucking.
yeah, dude, it happened. But like, listen, bro. You know, but like he was cruising around, like walking through the garden, going like, "Yeah, guys, check it out. I made that tree." You know, like he was there as a physical human, bro, and that's where that whole thing of like, you know, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So the Father is like that heavenly being, right?
Yeah.
So the Son, Jesus, being fully God but also fully human, walking around with Adam and Eve. Was there in the beginning because he obviously like ascended into heaven.
Yeah. The thing is that after that, right? I want you to answer this. Yeah. If Jesus is the Son, then what are we?
His brothers and sisters, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's also in the Bible. I sent a photo when I was reading it. I sent a photo to my friend because I was like, dude, what? That was like, it blew my mind.
That's a good find, bro. That's a good find.
Big brother Jesus,
Important find.
But like, yeah, it's like very, very cool. Because like, you know, again, also what's a big brother meant to be? A good example, protection. You know, when you got issues, you go to your big brother.
Paving the way.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So like, and that's everything Jesus does. Super cool. But yeah. So I was reading, and so people were asking Jesus. They were in like this like little tavern, you know, having some drinks. And they were like, "Yo, Jesus, like who's your family, bro? Like, who are your brothers? You keep talking about your brothers and sisters, and you know your like mothers, and there's only one Father, you know, the Heavenly Father." But and then Jesus was like, "Dude, like take a look around. All the people in this room, these are my brothers and sisters." And I was like, so basically all believers, are his brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Yes, Brandon.
Yo. When you talked about, it's just an idea I had when you talked about it in the Garden of Eden, if that's like baseline, if that's like heaven. And when you talk about suffering and we just want to experience, because and we talked about the layers of laws in the universe, and what goes up must come down. And the snake tempted Eve to say, do you want more? And if you want more, you need to experience less after, right? What if that is just a big metaphor for that? I just thought I had.
Wait, say it again. Explain.
So, if you look at that as a metaphor, like the base reality, as we're talking about, this is heaven. We're all happy. Yeah. We're all living in ecstasy.
Yeah.
And then someone comes to you. Do you want to experience more?
Yeah. Well, do you want to know what God knows? Is essentially what he was tempting her with. It's
Yeah.
like God, so.
Yeah, and that
do
is
you
suffering.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's how it became.
Yeah.
Do you know one of the punishments? So there were different punishments for everything, right? Yeah. Adam got his punishments. Eve got her punishments.
What's the punishment of Adam?
That
and what did he do wrong?
Well, he also ate the fruit after Eve, because God gave them both the instruction: don't eat the fruit, right? Then Eve ate the fruit and was like, "Yo, Adam, come eat this fruit." And he could have been like, "No, God told us not to," but he was like, "Okay, sure, thanks, wife," and ate it. So, anyways, the different punishments were all different, right? Adam would have to essentially start grow I'll say this wrong, but working, yeah. You couldn't just, and it became a gruesome thing to then kill and eat meat. Yes, and exactly, it was like, oh, this is intense. I just realized I'm actually taking life. But we've still given dominion over the world, right? Humans can still do it. We've still been given permission. But anyways, and then so Eve's punishment. This is what's super interesting. I thought it was great. Eve's punishment was pain during birth. Yeah. Right? During childbirth, and feminism, bro. Wanting to be equal to man.
Right.
How wild is that, bro? So that's back in the day. So yeah, and Adam was he had to then essentially start working. And the soil became cursed, and you got all your thorns and all this other stuff, and it became difficult for things to grow. So you had to actually look after the plants,
So I want to ask you this, because I also symbolize a lot of this of eating by the apple is taking psychedelics and going down this realm of finding your truth, and because it's in theory illegal, and you're being told your whole life never touch it. Your parents are like, whatever the fuck you do, don't touch psychedelics, don't eat the mushroom. I want to try.
You can't tell someone not to do it. They're just gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. And when I did this, and you said one of the punishment for people is to, now you get to see what the gods see, and you get to really differentiate between right and wrong. That's exactly what happened with me after my first psychedelic journey. I got to see every little piece of shit I am, and everything I'm doing wrong, and why I'm doing it wrong, and all I've done wrong up until this time, and all the shit I have to do to remove this negative karma. That's why I saved my mom. That's why I went vegan. This is all this, because after that trip I realized, meat, what the fuck? Now I just eat it because I've accepted it, and right now I'm selfish, and
at least you're admitting it, innit?
Yeah, I know it's a terrible thing to do, but my goal is to become it, after this 20 weeks I'm doing now with and then since my brother is a chef, he will help me, because I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I'm not vegan is because I hate fucking cooking, and I'm a lazy piece of shit. And that's the biggest reason I'm not my ultimate happy right now. It's the only thing I can really take myself on objectively right now. That I'm not living my life or every day to the fullest and being the best I can be. Because I'm doing this for selfish reasons. And I
feel like it's only selfish because you're making it selfish.
Okay, so bro, you have a dog, right? It have emotions, it have feelings, but you wouldn't eat a dog. No? In China you would. Why? Because it's cultural and so societal, and you're grown into the belief that it's whatever right and wrong. A cow, a pig, have the same emotional spectrum as a dog.
Yep, but they're not raised inside the house.
Why does that make a difference? Should
But
we
also,
eat people with Down syndrome?
do you raise them inside the house?
No, but like, just because they aren't equal to us in some way or we're superior, should we take advantage of them? Like, I'm okay with eating like free-range chicken eggs, even like grass-fed
So again,
beef
bro,
that have died of natural reason or whatever. It's not the meat that's the problem, but when you think about the bigger picture, it's kind of disgusting eating flesh.
Well, no, you cook it and it's delicious. You add some spices.
You're
salt.
amazing.
Yeah, but
Such a
why is
simple man.
this
I love
flesh
that.
different from this flesh? Because your book says so.
Yes.
And I think this is so strange that you rely your whole life around a book you don't even understand just because he said so.
Yes. It's God's word. That's kind of the thing. So like God's word is unchanging, right? Because God said that it would be unchanging. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, and I ate the fucking apple, so now I'm stuck here.
Pretty much, bro. Like, pretty much, bro. Yeah, dude. And so, like, yeah.
What do you
Pretty
think
much,
about
dude.
this?
What, me eating?
Yeah, because you talked about vegetarianism in the
Yeah.
beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, I feel a little bit guilty, man, because I did 2 years, well, actually a little bit more, nearly 4 years, a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because I was, you know, practicing spirituality, and it mentions that actually by not eating animals, you can purify your consciousness. Your consciousness can be a little bit more purer.
Yeah.
Just that act in itself can really help you understand a lot of things.
Yeah.
So then that's what we did to kind of like, you know, just to go by the what we were taught, the prescription kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when I got to here, I couldn't find any protein source. I didn't know how to cook. Like I was getting all my food made for me when I was there in Melbourne, and then now I didn't. So I started eating fish again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe the same thing, bro. Go on.
I just want to add something to what you
Yeah.
just said. Like you said, you started eating fish again, because I believe there's levels to this. Like it depends what you eat. Like eating an ant is a lot better than eating a cat.
Yeah, it's true.
And fish is better than a chicken.
Yeah.
And then eating a
Then you're using
chicken
your
is
same
better than a
argument
cow.
against yourself, bro.
What do you mean?
Because like, if you what's
There's
the
levels
difference?
of karma.
But eating a fish and eating a cow.
It's like same as killing a baby and killing an old man.
He has got a little bit of a point. He's
Do you think you deserve the same punishment for killing a newborn baby and an old man?
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
different
probably.
levels of. They have different levels of consciousness, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. By the way, like
You're creating more suffering by killing. It's all about adding or taking to the world, and by being perfect and evolving as a person, it's about giving more than you take, and your ultimate goal is to give as much as possible and only take what is required, what you need.
That's right. It's right. Actually, it's very, very, very good that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say that, like, for example, eating a cow is like abominable, like from a Vedic perspective, because it says that, like, if you drink milk and you're satisfied by it and you still slaughter the cow and eat the flesh, then you have a deep issue.
Yeah.
You know, because like you're being satisfied by that milk, you're happy with it. The cow has given you something, and you're ready to slash it up.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's like the cow in itself is an incredible creature.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
bust.
like,
They're
even-
so
I would
cuddly
dig
and
to have
lovely.
Do you know
And
what, bro? Not only that, it's like one of the only animals that don't breathe out carbon dioxide. You know,
Oh,
like
they
they are,
farted out, bro.
they are literally insane animals, bro. Like they're dung. You know,
Yeah,
they're shit,
yeah.
right?
I've got it
Bro,
at home. Bro.
Keeps the
Dried
flies away,
for-
bro.
Yeah.
like keep certain flies away, bro. Like certain
You can
flies
grow
away.
psychedelic mushrooms on cow shit as well.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
common practice in
Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, bro. You can make incense burners that keep
This
fly
man
away.
started smiling. Bro. He's like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, you can literally put it on your walls, bro. You can put it on the floor. It's
Yeah.
actually cool in the summer and warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like mad things about cows,
Yeah.
crazy, and then it literally creates milk from grass, turns its blood into milk. It's a very mystical creature,
Yeah.
you know.
It's crazy.
And it gives so much to human society. All these
Yeah.
different cheeses, bro. This milk
Yeah.
is insane. What you can make with milk. So then to kill the cow, it said that no, not good, because cows and humans are meant to live in synchronicity and help each other.
I believe
it's
so
like
too.
one of your real brothers that you were given on earth.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, this is again also where things get a little bit different, because obviously biblically, humans were given like dominion over everything, right? We run the earth essentially.
But it's such like a selfish thing.
Why?
Well, it's
Doesn't
right, though,
God
because
teach you to? He gives you a mind of your own,
Don't
and
be-
he
don't be
teach you not to be
greedy, don't be a
selfish.
gluttonous fatty.
And
you
he
know, but
also
like,
you're basically told to test him if you want to, and you can try out,
no, you shouldn't test God. It also says don't test God.
but you
that's-
can if you want to.
No. Well, I mean, you can, but you shouldn't.
If you want
it
to
says in the Bible, don't test the Lord. That's one of the things Satan tried to pull on Jesus. He was like, yo, dude, like if you jump off of this building right now, he took him to the top of a synagogue. I was like, dude, jump off, because it says, it's written that God's angels will come down and save you. And Jesus replied, no, for it's written, do not test the Lord your God. This is
Okay.
in the Bible, bro. You shouldn't test
Well,
God. That's the thing.
Maybe I
You-
misunderstood something.
And we
Yeah.
shouldn't ask for signs either. That's the whole point of faith. Like maybe in the beginning, if you don't believe, you could say like, please do this so that I like can get like confirmation, because otherwise, you know, for example, there's a guy that I know. Yeah, he had crazy anxiety. Please take away my anxiety, because I'm about to kill myself. Like if you know, if I wake up tomorrow morning and I still feel like super anxious and scared of everything and terrified of life and everything like that, I'm just gonna kill myself, because he's been like depressed and anxious for years. Wakes up and he's like, oh, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Took it away. You're like, okay, cool, thanks God. Boom, done. That's the only sign he needed. And then from there, you see all the other stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, yeah, dude, like, again, you ask, you know, like, do I just believe what's in the Bible? Yes. That's the point.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's bunches of translations. Nah, dude, there's one translation from that language to this language.
But this is the same problem I have with Islam too, because they both believe if they just follow their scriptures, they will go to heaven.
But no, that's not with this
Okay,
either,
but
dude.
let me finish. So like,
Yeah, okay.
And what we talked about earlier, that we all create our own realities, right? And we all give us the lives we think we deserve. So if you truly believe this is your truth, and it is the truth because it's your reality. The same with the Islamic person, this is his reality, and I'm living in my reality, so I need to live by my rules.
Is it not
So
just
this is okay
reality?
for you in your subjective reality. But there's also an objective reality that we need to talk about. Because we have all these different subjective realities, my realities, your reality, this reality, but we have right now we're in this world, and there's something we know is real. Like, I can touch you and you will feel it.
Yes.
Yes? That's an objective truth.
Yeah.
An objective truth, we are sitting in this room.
Yes.
Another objective truth is if I punch you in the face, you will feel pain.
Yes.
If we bring an animal in here and I kill it, I promise you that animal will scream and feel fear, and we are creating suffering.
I think
even though
how
we
you
eat
kill
it.
it depends how you kill it.
But
you
why
know.
is it up to us to choose an end in life? Because
we were given dominion over all the animals of the sea and the land and the air and all of this.
But this,
and
this
we
is
were
a
given
subjective
permission
truth.
by God to.
And if we're trying to find the objective truth, the objective reality.
Yeah.
I think that, you know what, brother? I think it's like, you know, there's a beautiful analogy given of a father who has 5 sons.
Yeah.
I've told you about this.
No.
And, you know, the 5 sons, they're really different to each other.
Yeah.
You know, one of them likes, you know, certain things, and the other one doesn't like them things, and he likes other things.
Yeah.
You know, so they have different attractions to different things. They also have a different level of sensitivity. You know, one son might like the father to be very strong and raw with him and real, and the other son might be a little bit more of an indirect approach. So everyone's different. So it mentions that, you know, there are different ways and different paths that one can take towards God, according to the individual living entity himself.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, for example, Christianity is perfect for someone. Islam is perfect for someone at that time.
Yeah.
You know, Hinduism might be perfect for this at that time. Krishna might be perfect for another person at that
100%.
time. So I don't think that it's like we can't.
But
like,
we have some objective truths. Like some people can create a religion now and say, like, my God told me that killing is okay if I feel like it. And then we need to have like some objective reality. The same with
exactly.
a woman is a woman, a man is a man,
I
XX chromosome, XY chromosome.
I agree.
Even if the scripture says so, we need to have an objective truth beyond text.
So the objective truth from the Vedas would be actually that, you know, killing animals is not necessary.
Yeah, and
You know?
I'm all for like getting your cow's milk from a real cow, not put in a cage and you impregnate it year round, and you steal their babies when they're born and they cry for up to a week. This is not good, and this will turn up the prices of milk drastically. But if you get free range eggs, free range meat, like, it's fine, that's not the problem. But again, like, you can do it, but then you have to do it the right way.
Well, look, there might be one son, for example, like us, right, who are living in this very, you know, degraded part of you know, time, and the world, and you know, where like meat eating is everywhere, it's all in the shops and stuff like that. So like, for example, you know, Bible for us will be like where God is like saying, look, okay, look, you can eat meat, you can still make progress if you eat meat, like, you know. But then obviously there'll be other parts in other cultures, for example, like, you know, there's one state in India where eating meat is actually banned. You can't actually eat meat there. It's a huge state called Gujarat, you know. So like for them, it's like perfect for them. In their scripture it says that actually no, eating meat is forbidden, don't do it. So they make progress in their own way, you know, depending on where that individual is at. Because if you accept karma as well, and that, you know, everything that has been given to you is a result of your previous karmic credit. Like, for example, somebody who's very ugly, they might really, really want to be beautiful. And they say that actually beauty is good karma. To possess beauty, factually, is actually more beneficial than to not. Like, there's been experiments of, you know, like 100 people judging one person.
Yeah, it's like definition of attractive. You're attractive, you will attract more.
Well, if you're attractive, you get less of a sentence. And that's been proven. You know, like they put a really attractive person there and they put a not attractive person there, and the one who was not attractive, same crime, got way more of a sentence than the other person. So in the same way, beauty is a boon. It is a
boon.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
A boon is like a benediction.
Okay, it's like new word for me.
Yeah. It's an opulence. It's something that you can spend. Okay. So in the same way, that's good karma. Okay. So some people are born into this world beautiful, and other people are not. So for example, with karma, it would be the person who's ugly. They might really desire to be beautiful one day, but they can't in this life. But they can do good deeds, and because the Lord sees the desire of the living entity, in the next life He might grant that to be true. Look, you did so well in this life, and I know you really, really want to be beautiful. So in the next life, I'm going to give you that. But you're going to even realize in that life that that's not it either. Everyone's searching for something. Everyone's trying to find God without God. You know, I don't know why I got onto that subject of karma, but I just.
I think because most of these topics all relate to each other. You know, it's very difficult to not have, or to have one conversation without kind of deferring back to one of the others. But I think you're very right about that whole thing of like, again, dude, you don't want to eat meat? Cool.
But I just want to ask you one last question, and I'll end this debate, and I'll stop being the fucking vegan guy. Even though I'm not even fucking vegan.
Hey, vegan, bro.
That's hilarious. Like, if you're raising a cow, let's kill this bitch and eat it. It doesn't ring a bell in your brain like, does this make sense? When you have an alternative to not kill the cow, that you build a relationship, you've cuddled him, you've held him, you've raised him.
Okay,
it's
but
basically a part of your family as a dog.
Say you've got a cow that you've raised as part of your family.
I could never choop.
Me neither. But I could go to the butcher who does raise them for that and go and
but
buy
that makes
half
it
a
even
cow.
Worse.
No, I'm not gonna feed it to the cow, bro. I mean,
Because
he's not
that makes
I'm gonna eat
that's
my-
the same as paying a hitman to kill someone and say I didn't kill them.
I think it's very different because the other one is a human and that's a cow.
So I paid someone to kill an animal for me, and that takes the responsibility away from me.
I don't think there's any responsibility with killing animals. If you're not killing it for pleasure and you're killing it to eat, it's
But
fine.
you're killing it for pleasure because you have other options right now. And you, like, we have different people, like
Again, that's where
the
it comes
daughter
down to
of
like
Jordan Peterson and Jordan Peterson, they have certain health issues with a plant-based diet, so they cannot. They need this to survive and function. Then it's a completely different story. But me, I thrive on a vegan diet. My body feels so light. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But I need to cook and clean more food. I need to buy more groceries. I need to be more conscious, and I need to learn, which is exhausting. And I'm a lazy piece of shit in that area, and I acknowledge that. I have room to improve.
yeah.
So, but how can you justify?
I was given permission by God.
Yeah, but do it in the right way.
Yeah.
Not go to like
a butcher and buy a half a cow. That's essentially what I want to do, bro. Is just buy and fill up a freezer with all the steaks and all the ribs and all the
buy
stuff.
Wagyu then. Like buy a whole cow that's lived a good life and then eat it.
Is that what Wagyu meat is?
Yeah, they get like massages and like they live a good life.
Right, I didn't know that.
It's
Yeah.
like
That's why their meat is so tender and good.
Fatty.
Right.
Yeah. See,
Same
it
with
doesn't die in
grass
pain,
fed.
bro. You just
like-
get that little bolt thing that just goes and it's dead, bro. It's done. It's like not even a second, my bro. It doesn't have to. You don't have to stab it to death and like it doesn't have to be like that, bro.
But
You know, break a fish's neck, dude. It's you know, you catch the fish, you pull it out, and it's done, bro. Like it's,
90%.
you ever killed a fish?
Yeah.
You feel nothing, bro. Like it's, and then you cook it and you eat it, bro, and it sustains you, bro. It's.
Yeah, but like, if
Okay.
you have the option in front of you, one creates suffering in the world and one doesn't.
Plants feel suffering.
You can't. Yeah, but one has less suffering than the other.
Okay, fair enough.
you
I mean,
can't-
how do you justify what's less or more, bro? To the plant, it's the most suffering. It doesn't give
Bro,
a fuck
like,
if you get a
let's
splinter
be
from
honest.
it.
Like,
You know, like you've seen where they connect synthesizers to plants and stuff. Well,
Okay.
you've seen where like
Okay,
a
bro,
flower is
I-
there
I-
and then
I'll
they
give-
cut the
I'll
flower
give you
next
this
to it
example.
and then it dies.
I'll give you this example,
Yeah.
bro. I can hit you with this, or I can bring a baseball bat. Which do you think causes the most suffering?
Probably the baseball bat, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, don't hit the plant or the cow with a baseball bat, bro.
But
Yeah,
you know, there's differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if you have someone who doesn't have like this finger that I recently split in half. If I do like this, I feel nothing because I don't have nerves there. The same with the fish. It doesn't have nerve
Less
in the-
nerves.
yeah, less nerves.
And
Sorry.
plants as well.
They
Yeah.
totally do have
So they
nerves.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
There's
I
new
articulated
plants,
myself
yeah, yeah.
wrong. But
But yeah.
the one is way more sensitive, and you will cause more damage,
Yeah.
more karmic negativity. You're
Yeah,
putting
energy.
more
Again, it depends
negativity
how
out.
you kill it.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yes,
Like,
that's
again, dude,
exactly
like,
where I'm coming
You're
from.
not hacking it to death with an axe.
Yeah.
That's exactly
right?
where I'm coming from. So
But if you've got like
eating processed meat is bad. Go to a real butcher, buy a cow that's lived a good life, died of natural causes. I will not judge you. I just think it's a bit sick, but I will not judge you because I don't think you fuck with karma in any sort of way other than it's a bit sick and disgusting.
yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with it in that sense.
I won't judge you. It's just sick and disgusting.
From my
fucking disgusting.
subjective, but objectively speaking, I can't make an argument against it of why it's objectively wrong. It's only subjectively wrong for me because eating flesh for me is nasty. But if
Except
we're
for
gonna talk,
when you're lazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've done it my
Yeah.
whole life. It's
Yeah.
purely based on routine. When I've been
What about
vegan-
eating eggs?
Yeah, I told you, free range egg. When the eggs or when the chicken have lived a good life, it's completely fine. But again, like chicken back in the day used to lay like one egg a month or some shit like that.
No, it's every day.
No.
No?
Ask
Back in
ChatGPT
the
right
day,
now.
yeah?
I can guarantee you.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, and now they're like pumping them out
Yeah, so
to the amount. If you don't kill them soon enough, their legs will break because they don't have enough calcium in their body because they use all the calcium to produce eggs. So we pump them so much full of steroids, and we
then
have
it becomes like a genetic thing, because we had chickens at our house back in South Africa. We had like 6 chickens, and we obviously didn't give them any steroids. We gave them like vegetable scraps and stuff like that, and they still laid an egg every single day.
Yeah, but we
Like-
have genetically modified them over time. The same with like pugs and
Yeah.
like they go. Even my Frenchie, like sometimes
Yeah.
are you good, bro?
You alright? That's funny.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like, so the whole idea, even with evolve, is becoming better, reducing suffering. Making choices that is reducing suffering. So you can go ahead and eat meat, Ben, but God gave you the ability to differentiate right from wrong. So eating one kind of meat is worse than another kind of meat. So you should have a goal in the back of your mind and slowly work towards this.
I think, dude, I totally agree with that whole thing of like, but it's slightly different. It's that whole thing of not being gluttonous, not being a fat fuck, not overeating because you enjoy like the taste and stuff like this. So essentially, like the most healthy diet, right? When people were living to like 900 years back in the day,
Brian Turner, the most healthy man on planet, is vegan.
yeah, but
Something like
with
that.
a bunch of science, and he also gets blood from his son every month or
Yeah,
week
but that's
or whatever.
not why he
But-
choose the vegan diet.
But anyways, so back in
It's
the day,
scientifically proven.
back in the day when people were living to like 900, they would eat once every 3 days, one meal once every 3 days. And there was a guy, I saw a video legit this morning, dude, blew my mind. The guy's like 73. He looks like he's 36, bro. He looks like our age. It's ridiculous. 73 years old. He eats one meal every second or third day. And it's just like a full meal, you know, maybe some eggs, maybe some meat, maybe some veg, maybe some fruit, a little bit of everything, nothing processed, obviously.
Yeah.
But like it's that whole thing of fasting,
Yeah.
right? And like as long as you're eating unprocessed food, you're gonna be healthy. And as long as you're fasting and giving your body time to detox, also if you're eating once every 3 days, one meal every 3 days, you're not going to eat that much, and then you're not causing any suffering, right? Like again, like say you eat once every 3, one cow will last your family of 5 2 or 3 years, right? If everybody's eating once every 3 days, you go catch a fish, bro, you got food for 2 weeks, bro, depending on the size of the fish, right? If you make like fish biltong and stuff.
But do you live
that.
like that?
No,
So
I don't.
I totally agree with you. It's
Yeah,
again
but-
like
but essentially-
reducing suffering.
That's again some like what we can kind of aspire to do, and it's something I will practice soon. Yeah, dude, like I love fasting. I love fasting. I've done it many
And-
times, and the whole one meal a day thing, I love it. I do it all the time. Yes, I eat meat.
So if
it's
we can
great.
agree that we both want to reduce suffering, why create it at all? Because God said so.
No, you didn't say create suffering. It's again also like animals don't have spirit, you know. Like again, dude, you got permission to eat something, eat it, you know. From the Most High God, bro.
Does it say anything specific about cats or dogs in the Bible that you cannot eat them?
So not you shouldn't eat cats because they're meat eaters, right? You shouldn't eat like carnivore things because of parasites and stuff like that, and dogs as well. So basically, the things that they do say that we can eat have like hooves and chew of the cud, which means they eat like grass and stuff like that.
So you can eat horses.
Yeah.
The horses have like also very emotional bonds with their
Owners.
yeah.
Because they're raised as pets and stuff like that. But
So
I'm
if
not
someone
saying-
had
I'm not saying I eat. You know, like 30. I think it's like 30 to 40% of the world's beef mince is horse meat. If you check out, yeah, like 30% of the world's minced beef is actually horse. 30%, but that's a lot.
Is beef considered horse?
No. They're saying that there's just horse meat in the beef. Like they were like busy doing it, and they're like, oh, cool, we got a whole bunch of beef. We need more. Let's put in some horse, bro. Or they just had horses on their farm. Like, you're getting old. Chuck it in.
We sidetracked so much.
Yeah.
We are on 2 hours now.
Last little question. You guys can we can end with this. We can go home with this. We can answer this. It doesn't really matter. My answers came to me almost immediately.
Maybe he can give his last opinion on what we just said.
What are we like debating on here? What are the two stances? Your stance is that we shouldn't eat meat.
Yeah, his is very similar to yours.
And your stance is that we should eat meat.
No, you can eat what you want.
No,
right.
Like dissect our opinions.
Okay, so I would say that ultimately, like the thing is, you got to do what you got to do in certain cases.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you're capable of, and you got to be practical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, one person might be doing one thing really right, and then something else not right. But God obviously sees that. But I think that ultimately, we shouldn't eat meat. But it's also incredibly difficult because of the society that we live in today. So I would literally say that like ideally not eat meat, but that'll be like the high. It depends on your goal as well. Actually, that's what I would say. This whole argument, like it's both subjective until there is a goal. When the goal comes in, when the goal gets involved, that's when things become subjective or objective.
Yeah.
It's like some people say that that garlic is good. Other people say that garlic is bad. Okay, two subjective opinions.
Dude, who says garlic is bad?
People say I have a beef with garlic, bro. Wow. For example, like for monks, it's not good.
Really?
It's an aphrodisiac.
I need to go to the bathroom again. So thank you so much for watching.
Dude.
That's me. You can end the podcast. Ben.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll drop the question quickly before you run, dude.
Yeah.
Say you've got a year left to live, right? 1 year. Yeah. Right? What's one thing you would stop doing, and what's one thing you would start doing? You don't have to answer now.
What we just talked about, I would stop eating meat, bro. Because then the only reason I'm eating meat right now is because I want my fucking pro card, and I'm an egotistical, narcissistic piece of shit who want my bodybuilding pro card, and that's the easiest way for me to do it right now. But since my brother is a chef, I will go back to a vegan diet soon.
Fair enough, man. That's a good answer.
Together in one, bro. Easy. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can save the question. You can answer it now. If you got my answers came to me like immediately.
What was yours?
I would stop sitting on my couch and playing on my phone. Like that was the first thing that came to mind. Like it didn't even. I was reading the question. I was like, stop playing on my phone. Like just whatever, YouTube, Instagram, games. It doesn't matter. I would just stop. Because that's like the biggest waste of time for most people. Whether you're learning something from your scrolling or not, you could always learn way more just going out and doing stuff. And the thing that I would start doing is just living in a constant prayer of gratitude.
That's nice.
Which is something that I do practice like fairly often, but like there would be like I would try and make that my way of being, And I think it's a really cool question because, like, you could die right now on the way home. You know, like, that's. I hope not.
Yeah.
But like, I think. So those were my two, like, and that like those kind of hit me like while I was reading the question. You know, didn't even have to take much thinking. And I think it's, I think they're good answers. For me, at least.
They are. They're very, very sincere answers.
Yeah.
I would stop playing around with God's energy and start being more interested in what God actually is. Personally, if I had 1 more year, that's we're running our lives off the assumption that we're gonna last. It's like this idea that we are God. It's like, well, okay, if you actually look at how short the lifespan is, you spend your life really, really going for it, and then before you know it, you've not got long left, and it's so brief, you know, and you realize the peakness of that. It's not cool. It's really, really not cool. So that's the world that we live in today.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would be like, right, okay, well, what is God, and how can I like do everything I can to get out of this? Because you know what I mean, like.
Yeah. Sure. Stop playing around with God's energy. I dig that. Yeah. I feel like like nowadays, everybody's so distracted. The whole world is crazy distracting.
Yeah.
So hey, you're back again. No, still chatting.
Are we allowed to do that?
In and out. Why not, bro? It's our podcast.
He's the boss.
Oh wait, dude, your back was just on camera. That's looking huge.
I just want to quickly say something, and sorry for stealing your spotlight, and because you're supposed to be the main guest. I really want to do a second round. If you
Oh
have
really?
time for that.
Yeah, we should. I'd like to run it back as well.
Yeah.
I think the subject that we're talking about right now is really amazing, but I feel like we could actually do much better in private. Us three in private, I think we could do much better speaking about this stuff in private. It's a beautiful conversation to have, and actually in private it's a little bit different.
Not for me.
Yeah.
I try to be as. That's also like the whole idea behind this podcast is be as authentic as possible.
Yeah. Like I don't mean that. I mean like it does change things. It just changes the vibe in general, you know. When you're speaking to an audience, then when you're speaking to yourselves, because this subject is so subtle. It's such a subtle subject, and it's so deep that we could cover. What I'm saying is we could cover much more together having a conversation like this.
That's why we split it up into multiple podcasts.
Yeah.
Because I
Like
really want to hear
7-hour
way
conversation.
more about your opinions and stuff. Because I feel like I was chatting way too much.
Nah, that's okay. Yeah, we can run it back for sure, man. I wouldn't mind doing that. I've enjoyed it. It's fun.
It was just nice having someone, because I love these topics. I love it.
I can tell, yeah.
I sometimes I get a bit too engaged. Like I was always raising my voice at Ben. I didn't need to do that when we talk about veganism. And I like stand
I
up.
bro, like again, I got God on my side, bro. I'm chilling, really.
Same with Leoni, and we start talking about trauma from the past, and it was like just something I was very caring about, something I put so high and really feel deeply about.
Right.
And then I stood up and like I like put more pressure, not like angry or screaming or anything, but like almost intimidating, and I do it but it's just because I'm so engaged and I want to
Yeah, you're definitely passionate about this. Yeah, for sure. It's
so
good.
I need to
Passion's a cool word. You know what it means?
Yeah.
Willing to suffer for.
Yeah.
Passion.
Really?
Yeah.
Passio, innit?
Damn.
Passio comes from the Greek word.
Yeah, willing to suffer for.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, eh?
Damn.
Yeah.
And ecstatic is good as well.
So,
I'm getting crazy goosebumps. I didn't know that.
Enthusiasm's a cool word as well, I think, because also we often confuse passion for enthusiasm. You know, you get excited about something. So like passion is, you're willing to suffer for whatever it is. So it's like if you're passionate about not eating animals, you're willing to suffer through eating vegetables and going through the effort of doing it all, right? So like that would be
Right.
you watch the movie Passion of the Christ? It's literally just about
Yo,
Jesus
I
suffering.
I watched that.
it yet.
My parents watched it, and it traumatized the shit out of me because the scene I saw was so bloody and gory.
Yeah.
I never watched
It's
it.
Yeah, I've
wild,
seen
bro.
it,
It's literally just about Jesus' suffering, dude, and his like journey to the
I should
cross.
probably rewatch. I have, that's a
Wow.
core memory of mine.
Yeah.
That
It's a
that-
super
that-
old
that-
movie, bro. It got popular recently, but like it's actually a really old movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day.
That was one of the things that traumatized me as a kid. That movie.
I can imagine, dude. It's really gruesome. It's really gruesome, dude. Like
it being pretty savage as well.
yeah, I haven't watched it,
Yeah, right.
but like I've obviously like seen
They're not holding back.
scenes and no, it's pretty
not
intense,
holding back.
and like that's very much a like a soft recreation, dude.
Yeah.
Like the way Jesus suffered was intense, bro.
Yeah.
Like you read these things or you listen to these things, and you're like, dude, like, damn, bro, that's the type of stuff that'll bring like tears to my eyes, bro. And I feel like, because like he went through that, knowing I would still do all the stuff that I do, and did, and all that, and he still goes, yeah, I did this like for you, you know. So I suffered like this, so you don't have to.
Can we ask to end it? I want to ask about to like sum up you and Ben said you were like the thing before Hinduism, or
What is that? Sorry, bro.
Vedic.
Vedic.
Yeah, Vedic
is that
like
what you identify with?
To be honest, I don't identify with it. I actually feel like I'm a Christian at heart. You
Christian?
know, like, yeah, but not like when I say Christian at heart, I mean like when push comes to shove, you know, like when I really need help, I pray to Jesus.
To Jesus.
Yeah. But
so what's your idea of Jesus?
Jesus. So my idea of Jesus is that, no, he's not God for me. He's not God, but he's actually as good as God. So meaning that he is he's a pure vessel to God. So and for me, you know, and you know, when push doesn't come to shove, I pray to Krishna, because I do believe that Krishna is the Lord, is the Father who Jesus speaks about.
Okay.
Right. So, but my faith in it is not too strong, because my faith is a little bit more like really in the nitty gritty, is more because I know more Jesus is more closer to home for me. He's someone who I can rely on a little bit more, you know, like you know, Krishna consciousness is it just makes insane amounts of logic, you know, and so I would like to believe that Krishna is the supreme Lord because of the way he is described.
Is that the God Christians refer to?
No.
So what differentiate?
Well, actually, technically, from a technical perspective, we would say like, but Christians don't necessarily know that Krishna, who we're talking about, is also God.
Is Krishna separate
from Christianity?
No, is he separate from you?
This is what he was talking about earlier, is that Krishna is an individual, and that we're all individual.
So he's the supreme individual.
Yeah, so we have nothing to do with him. He's just like our king, basically.
Actually, we do have something to do with him, and that is that we are literal parts and parcels of him. Yeah.
So like branches on a tree.
You could say that for sure. We are. We're made of the same substance, but he is individual. He is supremely powerful. He is infinite, and we are infinitesimal. Yeah. So like, and we were created by him for his enjoyment, right? Which for us in our materialistic mind that sounds very egotistical. You know, oh my God, you created, everything revolves around him, or you know, everything's for his enjoyment. That sounds like some kind of ego, you know. But actually, we're part of him. So, like, we enjoy, the way that we enjoy is by being enjoyed by him. But what we're doing is we're trying to enjoy ourselves without him. So that's why we're suffering, and that's why we're in this material world. Yeah. So for me, Jesus is that direct vessel when it comes to crunch time. If the world was ending right now, I'd pray to Jesus. You know, I'd pray to Jesus to help me, because I don't know whether Krishna is actually God, but I do know that Jesus is definitely 100% like pure vessel, a pure doorway to God, whatever God is. I do believe him to be a real person as well, like a real person who existed and who actually did die on the cross. I don't believe that he died for our sins, like he didn't die particularly to make everyone saved. I don't believe that. But I do believe that his death, then that doesn't take away from the significance of his death. Like, you know, this guy were basically at the when he was nailed to a cross, this guy turned around and said, you know, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Yeah.
Like, who is that? Who is this being, really? You know, so if someone like that is, you know, you see the way he lived his life is informing me that actually God is an individual, then it has credibility for me, you know.
Yeah.
It has a lot of credibility for me. And then also as well in the Vedas, you've got Krishna in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He blows my mind into smithereens, bro. Like, for example, there's one problem in science. It's been a problem for a very long time, and it probably will be forever. It's called the hard problem when it comes to explaining that consciousness comes from the brain.
Yeah.
You know, modern science, they're trying to explain that consciousness comes from the brain, right? Comes from the body, comes from biology.
Yeah.
But spiritual understanding says, no, that's not the case. So anyway, there's a problem of qualia. And what qualia is, what it means is that, let's say, for example, the light bounces off, you know, the wall and goes into our eye. You know, that gets converted into electricity in the retina, and it sends an electrical signal to the brain. We perceive something as whole as sight. It's just electricity, right?
Yeah.
Same with taste buds, mixes with the chemicals on our tongue, sends a signal to the brain, electrical signal. Electricity is just fire. It doesn't have information stored inside it that we know of it. And then we perceive something like taste, many different tastes. So this is the hard problem in science. So one thing that I found that blew my mind, what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita was, you know, I am the taste of water. I am the fragrance of the earth. You know, so basically what he's saying is, you know, that hard problem, that really, really hard problem that just messes you up completely because you don't even have the first step towards solving it. That's me. He's basically saying that's me. That's me. You're not gonna, like, you're trying to understand how that happens, but like, actually that's me. I'm the reason for that. That's me. You know. So he, you know, and so he's claiming in the Bhagavad Gita that he's God. You know, he says, everything rests on me as pearls are strung on a thread. I am the Lord of all spiritual and material worlds. You know, so then I'm like, wow, this guy's claiming, he's not only claiming to be God, but he comes from the Vedas, which also astrology comes from the Vedas, which is a science that is incredibly mathematical. And then numerology comes from the Vedas. The oldest numerology we know of comes from the Vedas.
Yeah, numerology is interesting.
Astrology, numerology, Vedic has the oldest knowledge on that. So I'm like, whoa, numerology, astrology, Ayurveda. And then so there's all this credibility in the Vedas. And then you've got Krishna saying, I'm the Lord of all lords. Everything rests on me. I'm the beginning, the middle, and the end. So I'm like, right. Wow, okay, I don't know, I can't believe that, but it has credibility, built-in credibility. So that's,
I think the problem is just when you give it a name. That's where the separation comes in. It's basically just an explanation of the laws of the universe for me. And then, like you said, Krishna or Vedu or whatever, it's just giving certain laws of the universe names.
But then, where, you know, for there to be laws, where did they come from?
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I know, but like
how can you say it's just the way it is? It has to be based on something.
Yeah,
that's the mystery of God.
Right. Okay. So then
so it comes from God.
Yeah.
Life itself is a paradox.
Why? How?
Because, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I get where you're coming from, bro. Yeah, but it's right. So that is a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah.
Right. That okay. Well, actually, it's just the mystery of God. You know, and this is what an atheist would say to you. He would say that you're copying out. You know, copying out basically means like you don't have an answer for it, so you're just saying, oh, it's just the mystery of God. But actually,
no, I just don't think we're able to perceive the truth in our human forms right now.
No, definitely not. Not perceive the truth.
Or you can't. You can live it and experience it.
Yeah.
And try and give it names.
We we do have the intelligence to break stuff down. Like, for example,
Yeah, we just need more time, and AI needs to develop and stuff like this, and we will find it. Sure, I think so. I hope so.
I think that when it comes to finding God, it requires more sincerity. Like, we can't, we can't just artificially barge in and say, God, where are you? I'm going to grab you. I'm going to learn who
It's
you
all
are.
based on logic. In the end of the day, it's cause and effect.
See, this is why God is God, right? So it's like, it's all caused on logic, but the logic that you're getting, the revelations that you're getting through your logic, is also coming from God.
Yeah.
So, for example, what another verse that says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am living within the hearts of all living beings, and from me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. Yeah. So, for example, if a person's an atheist, he has faith in atheism. Yeah. And Krishna is saying, basically, even your faith is coming from me. Without me, you couldn't even have faith in atheism. I am literally making atheism seem real to you based on your sincerity or lack of sincerity, so to speak. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny debates with atheists.
Yeah. Oh, bro, I've got one for you. You are going to love it, bro. I've got one for you, bro. It's class.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Oh, no, sorry. I'll show you. I'll send it to you.
Sure.
It's class. Yeah, basically, this Swami, the guy's trying to say that everything comes from an explosion. And he's like...
Yeah, I think I know. Yeah, continue.
He's like, but wait, from as far as we know of, explosions don't create things, they destroy things.
Exactly. Yeah. That's super true, dude. Yeah, imagine throwing a grenade and creating a sandcastle, right? Like, it's not gonna happen, bro. Yeah.
And what we were just talking about, like, it had to be nothing or something.
Yeah.
And atheists are believing in nothing.
Well, actually,
how can you believe in nothing?
It's impossible, mate.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah. So they say, like, oh, the cloud, there was this primordial soup, and it's like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Another thing, bro, is like, also, like, you telling me that males and females developed at the same time. Like, you can't have just males or just females. If you had just one of the, you wouldn't be able to reproduce. So that means somehow.
But isn't that the same with the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. So then it's that whole thing of, like,
actually, God
created it on a day, and he was like, cool, boom, done, happy, sorted. And he just went, he thought it into existence. That's
actually,
and he spoke man into existence.
Well, it's funny you say he spoke, because again, and I'm always the reason why I keep referring to the Vedas is because I know that obviously you've not explored it, so I wanted to put it out there as much as possible.
That's why I want exactly. We just keep tracking off.
So interestingly, the Bible says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, right? Something like that. So in the beginning was the Word. What is Word? Word is sound.
Yes.
In the Vedas, right? On the other side of the world, right? Different kinds of people. It says that actually, the first element that was created was space. Yeah. But that space was created through sound. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? Mm-hmm. It says it in the Bible. It says it in the Vedas. So there's these incredible synchronicities. Like putting your hands together in prayer, same as the Vedas. Yeah. When the Muslims touch their head to the ground to pay their respectful obeisances, same as the Vedas. There's this insane correlation when it comes to spirituality. Yeah. Yeah. It seems to all kind of trickle back to ancient Indian understanding of spirituality.
That's why I love everything. And what I mean by the Whispers game, we all get caught up in these names for things, and then we think we mean different things, and when things are taken literally instead of metaphorically, and stuff like this. And this is why I think it's so dangerous to take scriptures so literally instead of trying to understand them and digest them and put them into the world.
It takes some balls. It takes some balls to have an open mind with anything when it comes to, especially when it comes to something like God, isn't it? Having an open mind, it takes a lot of balls. Like, I've got a friend, he's amazing, he's a Christian guy. Yeah. I love him so much. He has so much love for Jesus. It's insane, bro. And we used to read Bhagavad Gita together, and he just used to be like, bro, this is on another level. You know, he's been a Christian since birth, and there's nothing I could ever do to make him believe that Krishna is God. Like he's absolutely convinced that Jesus is God, and he loves Jesus. Like, but when
What's up?
Yeah, he's amazing. Shout out Mario, man. Shout out to Mario. He's an amazing, one of my dearest brothers and friend, older brother. He's like 50 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, and he's amazing. But when he reads Bhagavad Gita, he's like, bro, this is amazing. Like the philosophy, the logic, the way the material world is described is just, it's insane. Yeah. It's absolutely bewildering, bro. It's bewildering. Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
Where do you see the time?
Is there under ice rec? Now almost 2:30. Almost 30 minutes over time.
I see it now.
We're just getting started, bro.
Yeah, dude, come on, bro. We need another 4 hours.
Yeah, but honestly, I think we should end it.
We've had some long chats before.
I need to eat. I have dogs at home. My brother is probably going crazy.
Don't eat your dogs, bro.
Yeah. I'll try.
Sorry, bro.
It's funny, like, you also wear a cross.
Yeah.
This is for the listeners. Like, see how different our beliefs are, but we all wear a cross.
Exactly. It's a wonderful thing, man. Jesus is a G, man. Absolutely. He's the one who, you know what I mean, you go to when he's the one you go to when you're in serious trouble. Do you know what I mean? When you're in so much trouble and you realize that you don't know nothing. Yeah. You're like, Jesus. You need someone to pray to. Jesus is the man.
To me, it's just a metaphor of love.
Yeah.
Like, I like this saying, don't preach the teacher, preach the teachings. Forget about Jesus. Think about what he tried to tell you. Just completely forget about him. Yeah. Just think about what he tried to learn you. This is why I don't like the idea of Jesus dying on the Jesus. No, bro, chill. Yeah. Just try to be a better person. Yeah. You know?
But the thing is, though, if you forget about him, then you can't develop a loving relationship with one of God's devotee, with one of if it's true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like when
you say
it could be anyone, it could be your mom, it could be your dad, like it could just be someone good in your life. Like I aspire to be like him without knowing it since birth. Like
who, Jesus?
Yeah, without knowing it. Like, because we all have the capability of differentiate right between wrong. Like, as soon as I got my happiness was when I shook my stepfather in the hand and forgave him for my childhood. It's when I helped my mom. Yeah. Because forgive them because they don't understand what they do. And in the start of my spiritual journey, I started hating people because I couldn't relate to them and I felt so isolated or not hate, but like, oh, you're such bad people and this and that. But no, bro, it just is. Yeah. And it's natural in all of us. All you have to do is focus on becoming better. You already have Jesus in you without even thinking about it. Jesus is just a concept, is an idea that's manifested in a physical form at one time. Is some dude who tried to teach you something. And yes, it can make it easier and think about him as a person, but like, don't get too caught up in that and focus on actually changing. Stop being a lazy bitch like me and, you know?
Yeah. I think, but you can't deny that he was a human.
Yeah, I think he lived. But I think he's no different from you and me. He's just one of the guys who figured it out and then, oh shit, this guy makes sense. I'm going to start doing like him.
Yeah, even figuring it out, figuring it out, that is like
submitting your will to God.
Yeah, like that.
That's the whole thing of fully submitting your. So instead of doing any decisions by yourself, it's all God, and listening, being quiet enough, and having like zero ego, as you like to say, to just hear God's voice, not distracted at all. Yeah, that's that whole thing of like Jesus was 100% man and 100% God. You know, that's also again where we slightly differ. Yeah. You know, you just think that he was man. So personally, I think he was 100% man and 100% God, and that's why he was able to essentially discern God's voice. He was because his connection with the Father was so strong because he was the Father. He was like, but he was also 100% human. He felt hungry. He had to take a crap. He had to do like all this normal stuff. And that's why he was tempted by Satan. But then he was like, no, because he also then knew the word so well. And he was able to then withstand that because he was 100% God. And like that whole thing of dying on the cross for our sins, the only reason he could do that is because he's 100% God. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to. You just wouldn't be like, stuff this. Any human going through that suffering, they just couldn't. They just couldn't. Right? Who would be able to suffer that much for people that don't know?
Yeah.
For people like, they don't know what they're doing. Really, like you're strung up on a cross, nails as thick as, I don't know, bro. This little tree over here, even thicker, bro. Maybe this thick, bro. Who knows? Anyways, through your wrists and your feet, you've been lashed on the back that you're bleeding and open. You've got this crown of thorns shoved into your head. You've been
so let me
pulled,
put this metaphorically
thing, and you still say forgive them.
Have you ever been suicidal?
Yes.
First time I tried attempting my life was 3rd grade or something like that. I was constantly depressed. Yes, I had moments of happiness, but every time I went to bed, I wanted to die. And you can make that symbolism to being hanged on a cross. But the only reason I stayed was because of my brothers and sisters and mother and father, because I didn't want to cause them pain. Because they don't know what they do is wrong. With the same symbolism, like I say, we all have Jesus inside of us. It's just choosing him. It's choosing the good over the bad. I choose to suffer for my family. It's symbolism. We all have God inside of us. We all have the ability to it. That's why I don't think he's any different from us. He's just a simple dude to figure it out.
I think that figuring it out, though, like requires God. Like requires sincerity, real sincerity, rather than like, it's not like figuring out.
I think it more requires purity.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, purity is definitely a requirement to figure it out for sure. Yeah, surely.
You need to have a good heart.
Yeah. But also
love is the way.
But even a good heart might not be enough, because it's like, okay, you might have a good heart towards all other living beings, but when it comes to understanding who is the Supreme Lord, surely that has to take a lot of sincerity.
But why do you need to understand what it is to do good?
What? Pardon?
How are you going to do something if you don't understand it?
What's that? Sorry.
All I knew, all I wanted to do was good. Like, I want to share the small things I had. I didn't want my family to suffer, so I did what I could.
Yeah. So what's the question, bro?
You said you need, what did you say?
More like sincerity. Yeah.
You needed God to...
Not to see. When we think of God, we automatically think of the qualities of God: goodness, love, loving your neighbor. But actually, when I'm talking about God, I mean like an actual living entity, like an actual being who created everything. So for someone like Jesus, like, I think it's significantly different to figuring out a puzzle, a material puzzle, to actually understanding God, because you can figure out a material puzzle with your mind.
Yeah, but why do you need to understand God to do good?
No, not to do good. Not just to do good, but like I'm saying that Jesus knew, like, from what we know, he understood God. Like, so when he speaks about God,
you listen.
Yeah, because from what we know, it's not just about goodness. It's because goodness is fine, but you can perpetuate it in the material world over and be reincarnated over and over again, being a good guy. But ultimately, to get out of this world of suffering, right, that requires actually getting to know who God is, and developing that relationship with God, and actually developing the desire to go back with God. This is a very high concept. I barely understand it myself, but all I know is how to structure it with words properly. Other than that, I don't really know nothing else. Do you know what I mean? But because this life is very short, and our perspective that we're talking about now can change at any moment through crisis. It can all change through crisis, and then that's when reality starts to really come out. when all the things that we are focusing on right now that we think are super important, they all become like nothing. And that's when we can see super clearly. And that's when we can see that actually, wow, this world, we fantasize this world into being something that it's really not. It's not actually so amazing, really. It's actually pretty damn crazy, you know, not to go too pessimistic, but it's quite bad.
Also, is that not then also like it's humans that made it like that?
100%.
So it's
100%.
So then it's not, I mean, you could call it the world, but it's, so humans are that crazy, intense, suffering part. Because like, look at the natural world, bro. Like, you know, whales swimming in a pod, sunsets, you know, all this good stuff. The sound of the jungle, dude. Like that's truly amazing. That's all I have to say about that. You know, so it's, I mean, the God of this world, bro, is not God. Satan.
Yeah, I heard people say that. Yeah.
And then you've got the Most High God, God of the universe. Yeah, creator of the universe. Oh wait, dude, I feel like we're all tired now, bro. It's an exhausting conversation.
I could continue.
I
think about bye.
Bye. How you doing, bro? Yeah. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. It's good. Right. Should we put a pin in it, bro? And we can continue another time. Yeah, dude. Heck yes.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, before we go.
So shout out to Raw Pharma for this podcast. We love you, Dale.
Super cool.
Yeah,
super cool. Are you taking anything else at the moment from Raw?
I just started Melanotan
Okay.
for a week. Get tan.
Are you doing the
Really? To get a tan?
inhaler or the injection?
You never heard about Melanotan?
It makes you literally get a tan.
So Melanotan is the pigment that makes you tan, kinda easily explained. So it makes it safer to be in the sun because it's way harder to get sunburned.
Really?
You need less sun exposure because a lot of sun exposure age you. And yes, sun is really good and healthy, but too much of it is not so good. And I have a really busy schedule, and I try to achieve all these things, but I still want to be tan, so I don't have time to lay on the beach for an hour here and there.
Okay, right, fair enough. So practically logical practicalities in there as well.
Yeah, and it's
Steroids for
close
tanning,
to close to zero side effects if you do it right. You can become a bit nauseous, lose a little bit of appetite, and actually it can increase sex drive a little bit.
Oh wow!
From what I know.
Yeah.
But to get away from these problems, you take it at night before you sleep, and usually it's fine.
Right.
And you stick to the recommended doses. That's a big thing. Because one of the nasty side effects is if you have moles, they can grow.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
And you can get like freckles and dark spots.
Yeah.
But they usually shrink and disappear when you stop it.
Right.
And that's because
I
you're
thought
doing.
you got freckles and moles and stuff from sun exposure, no? Like from getting sunburned.
Yeah, but
I've got
bro,
them.
it's like it's like
Uh.
steroids and growth hormone. Like if you have cancer cells and you blast steroids and growth hormone, it's gonna make that cancer like whoosh.
Yeah.
The same with
I want to
Melanotan.
name my dog Woosh. Yeah, I'm gonna get a big dog one day. I'm gonna name him Woosh. Woosh. Hey, Wooshy boy. Yeah, bro, it's gonna be awesome. All right, bless Luke, dude. Shot for coming on, bro. Super cool.
Pleasure,
yeah, dude, we'll do it again.
Yeah,
we'll do it again. I think you need to charge your camera as well, bro.
Yeah, I know, it
like
flipped
halfway
out.
through.
Flipped out, didn't it?
Dude, those little things are gangster, hey?
They're cool, isn't it?
Yeah, super cool.
Pardon? Is it Vismo? Oh.
Little DJI.
Yeah, but DJI Vismo.
Oh, I think so, bro. Yeah.
Because we need to get
Pocket.
one of those.
Pocket. Sorry,
We need
pocket.
to
Because you can end the podcast, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys. See you next
Peace.
time. Plastic
Evolve.
chairs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can finish. Yeah, we need to get one of those because you can add it to the camera and you can shoot content for YouTube and Instagram
At the same time.
At the same time.
So cool.
And the DJI microphones can connect to both at the same time.
Cool. That's very cool.
Because what's so fucking annoying is if you want to record a YouTube video and you want to get snippets of it onto make reels, TikTok,